Well, hello, my dear friend. Welcome once again to Blind Dad Does. My name is Ira, and I hope that you guys are having a very good day. Today has been a very interesting day, and I hope that you guys are ready for, well, what should be a good time, I think. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not being narcissistic or anything like that, but I have a lot of fun when I come on here and do these things. Hello, Jolene. Love you. How you doing tonight? So, yeah. Let me grab a drink of a Jamocha shake here real quick. I don't do fast food very much, but I got to admit, see, I don't like Arby's much, but they do really good Jamocha shakes, man. I love them. They're hard to resist. They're hard to say no to. They're very addictive. Anyways, yes, I know I like their jalapeno peppers too. Jolene absolutely loves those things. But anyways, I kind of hit on this idea to talk about tonight, about change, because we've been kind of talking a little bit here and there on the broadcasts that I've done of late about like mental health and all that kind of different stuff. And change is a big aspect of, I guess, what we can do with life, you know. But some people wonder, is it an inevitable thing, or is it something that we can control, or is it something that we really need to do, so on and so forth. Well, I've got some ideas as far as that goes. Of course I've got ideas because, well, why not? It's the person that I am. I have all kinds of weird thoughts that go through my head at all periods of time. So, I thought maybe I would talk about some of the changes that I've gone through in life, because I have reached a stage in my life where I'm a little bit over middle age, and you go through all those different changes through life, so you got to wonder what can I do now that I'm old and set in my ways? What can I do to change my life in different ways to make things better or worse, or whatever the case may be? But anyways, it's always fun. So, anyways, we had a pretty good day today. I got my new backdrop. Everything is completely black. I feel like I'm just a floating head with a little microphone in front of me at this point in time. I did get a green screen with it, and we did try to set it up, and it didn't work out very well. I think that if I'm going to do a green screen with it, which I would love to do, there are ideas that I've got for it, of course. But if I was going to do something with it, I think I'm going to have to light it up a lot better. And unfortunately, that means that I'll have to have more lights on. And with my vision issues, the more lights that there are, the more it kind of really screws with me. So I'd like to avoid doing that if I possibly can. But, we'll see what happens, I guess. As time progresses, I might be able to figure out something else to do with it that would make it more usable. I hope. It'd be kind of nice. But this new backdrop did come in, and I think it's going to be a little bit better. We had to move some stuff around in the room again. The studio is a little bit cramped, and as you guys have seen over the past couple of days, Jolene is behind me. I don't think you can see her anymore. I'll dip my head there, but I don't think that you can see her back there anymore, which is a good thing. You don't have to look at the floating light that's behind me at this point in time. So I don't know if that annoyed anybody or if anybody enjoyed that part of things. But anyways, it was a little bit in my face whenever I was doing anything with the camera work and that kind of stuff. So, but that's okay. That's okay. Good. Thank you. I'm glad I'm sounding okay tonight. So I was a little concerned because, again, I had to move stuff around. I had to, redo and retinker and all that kind of good stuff. A lot of different things. So I was hoping that I hadn't messed anything up. But so far, I think it's okay. Let me see. For some reason, I have this little bot thing that's supposed to work in the chat room, and I don't think that it is actually functional, and I'm not sure why. Maybe I have to have that actually, I don't know. Maybe I'm still trying to get all this Twitch stuff figured out, really, is what it comes down to. I'm still trying to get it all figured out and worked out and all that kind of good stuff. For an old blind guy, it's not necessarily the easiest thing, but I'll get through, I guess. I do enjoy this backdrop, though. It is a lot more stable. it's on a set of tripods that are lifting it up pretty decently up into the air. So I'm no longer having it hanging from the ceiling and praying that it doesn't let go in the middle of a stream or in the middle of the night. Because, well, you know, what am I supposed to do with it in the middle of the night? I can't really crawl around very well in the middle of the night to try to get it fixed back up again. So, you know, it's one of those fun things, I guess. So anyways, pardon the noise there. My phone keeps beeping at me and I'm not sure why. I think it's telling me that a new email came in, but I thought I turned that off. Apparently I didn't, but that's okay. That's okay. It's only a little bit of a noisemaker in the background. It's entertainment. Yes, indeed. Random entertainment. So, yeah. This backdrop is pretty nice though. It's, it came in 3 different colors. Like, so the tarp basically that it, is made of, there's one that's black, there's one that's white, and then there's one that's green. And the green, I don't know, the green is kind of like a really darker green overall, and it's pretty light absorbing. So one of the problems with dealing with green screening stuff is that green has to be pretty well lit when you're trying to do what's called chroma keying the information out of the camera. And so when I was working with it, trying to get it to function, my beard was gone. Like literally the only thing you could see was my nose, my eyes, and a little bit of my forehead. And the rest of it was all disappeared. So, and I'm not sure why. It might be something with my camera too. I mean, I have to acknowledge that the camera is older and it's not very good to begin with. It's just like one of the El Cheapo Logitech cameras. So it's good enough for like just coming on and I guess doing this kind of conversation, but trying to do much of anything else with it, it's not really the best quality or anything like that. I mean, it's like, it's weird because I can't get it to like shift the colors correctly. I've tried to do like color corrections and all that kind of stuff with it, but it hasn't worked out very well. So hopefully I can get things figured out and tweaked around. So that's kind of like I know, Jolene, you're going to be upset hearing this, but that's probably my next project, is figuring out how to get things to work good and get the color schemes and everything like that correct. But my sound is okay. I'm not worried about that part of it, dear. She's so funny because she knows I'm an audiophile and that I'm real like finicky when it comes to the sounds that I broadcast. So so I know that through this process of coming back on the air again has really like had her concerned and worried and a little bit biting of teeth and gnashing of gums and all of that kind of stuff, trying to make sure that I'm not being the freak that I could normally be when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I'm doing okay though. I'm doing okay. I promise. So anyways, all that being said, I am glad that I was finally able to get this new little partition thing here. I feel a little enclosed. No, thankfully I'm not claustrophobic at all. So it's a little enclosed. I've got like a foot behind me that before it gets to the tarp there, but it's pretty good. I like it. And I like the fact that I feel like I'm just like this little floating head in your brain, you know. Hi there, how you doing today? You know, all that kind of good stuff. But anyways, so going to the subject at hand a little bit. We human beings, we go through the process of change all the time, regardless of whether we really want it to happen or not. And I'd like to think about what changes have happened in my life and maybe what the triggers for those things were, so that I can try to figure out like how to direct my life a little bit better. Because, you know, so many times us human beings, we have this issue where we don't feel like we're in control of anything that's going on with us or in our lives or in the lives of the people that are, involved with us and so on and so forth. We always feel like we're out of touch, out of reality, out of control. And like, what can we do to make things better? All of that kind of stuff really hovers over us in a big way. And so trying to figure out what we can do to direct the changes that are going on in our lives can really be a benefit overall, if we want it to be, I guess you could say, or if we can figure out how to tweak it so that we have a little bit more control factor. That's not always an easy thing to do, though, because sometimes the circumstances of our lives are really out of our control more than we would want them to be, I think for me, one of the guideposts that I went through a long time ago was the realization that if I kept things the way that they were, I would keep having the same things happen to me over and over again. And I know I've mentioned this on like past broadcasts, but I do think that we as human beings are kind of stuck sometimes in this life lesson that the universe is trying to teach us. I think that the universe kind of like throws lessons at us, and if we don't catch it the first time around, then we're going to have to go through it again, to learn the lesson, whatever it is that we're supposed to learn, and if we don't learn it then, well, then we're going to go through it again, and then we're going to go through it again, and then we're going to go through it again, until finally we say, okay, enough is enough. I've learned my lesson here, and then we might go through it another couple of times just to make sure that we did understand it. It's kind of that way. But I know for me with past relationships, that was a big portion of things, was this problem of going from one relationship to another without even acknowledging that what I was doing was seeking out kind of the same thing over and over, because that's what I thought I needed. And I didn't need it. I wanted it, but I didn't need it. So it's like it's kind of funny because like when you get involved in relationships, a lot of times, and actually I wrote a book about this, if anybody is curious about it, if you guys want to find it, it's called When Good Relationships Go Bad. And it's all about the things that I kind of learned in my journey through life, trying to come to terms with what I needed to do to break myself of these like bad cycles that I was in. So I went through different relationships, different marriages, so on and so forth, until I finally gave up, lived on my own for a while, and realized, oh crap, okay, so I was actually doing things in the worst possible way for me, and what was bad for me might not be bad for you, but I'm just meaning for me, it wasn't the right choice to do. And I kind of took a look at the relationships, and I saw the patterns that were there. It was almost like it was an emotional addiction that was taking place. And so I knew that I needed to foster change somewhere, somehow, so that I could be better, or at least to me be better. I hope that makes sense. And as the show goes on, we can get more into that kind of stuff. But that's really what boiled down this idea of needing to make some kind of changes. I saw it in my dad's life when I was younger. He was a drunk and abusive guy, but then he kind of woke up one day and realized that he needed to make a change. He quit drinking, and then he started to actually make a lot of changes in his life, and he became a person that I loved. But I had for a long time, and I still do to a point, had this dual vision of this person that my father was. And he's been dead for years now, but the one person is him as a drunken, abusive person. The other is him after he quit drinking and became somebody that I cared about deeply. And as I've gotten older, I've learned how to like deal with that and figure out my ways to accept both versions as being, I guess, separate people, really. But it took me a long time to get to that point, because I didn't know how to break the one away from the other. And again, that took change in me to do. I didn't realize for a while the person that he had become was a better person. I didn't give him much chance for a while. And I cut him out of my life for a long time until I was in my 20s. And I kind of re-met him again and talked to him again and realized, okay, this person now is much different than he used to be. I don't think many people get that chance with the people that they care about. Number one, unless they really try, but number two, like there are a lot of people that just don't foster change within themselves to make that much of a radical difference, between who they were and who they became, I see that it's a rarity, really. But he broke his cycle, and it allowed me to break the cycle of thought within myself about who and what he was. I never felt the need to vilify him or cut him or vilify him, I guess, is the best way I can put it, over the things that he did when he was younger, and when I was younger. I think mostly because by the time that everything was said and done, I wanted to move past it as much as I could, and I didn't want to hold on to those angers and bitternesses and so on and so forth that can come from that kind of thing, and did come from that kind of thing. I didn't want to hold on to it and make it like rule my life. So I let it go as much as I could so that I could get to know the person that he ended up becoming, and realized he was a great guy. I realized that the person that he did become eventually was a really great guy, and somebody that I would have loved to have had in my own kids' lives. But he passed away before that could really become a thing. Jolene says she would have given anything for her mom to change. And, I know the relationship that you had with your mom, and that was a rough one. It really was. She was very abusive, and she was like not physically, but very emotionally and verbally abusive to Jolene. And I know that throughout her life, she's had maybe not necessarily regrets, but always like this, feeling that it could have been better had her mom fostered some kind of change within herself, you know what I mean? And had a better, decent relationship. But Right, exactly. And see, that's the kind of person that you are, Jolene. So for those of you guys that didn't read it, basically she says that all it would take right now for me to forgive her for what she put me through is an apology and an honest try to become a better person. And that shows your heart, Jolene, about like the person that you are, that you're willing to give that kind of a step to somebody who was as bitter and broken to you as she was. It shows the kind of really good heart that you have and why I fell in love with you, really. To be honest, there you go. Dawns, oh my goodness. Hey, how have you been, my friend? It has been a long time since I've seen anything from you. Oh, it does my heart so much good to see you here with me right now. It does. Oh my goodness. How have you been? Talk to me. What's been going on with your life? Let me read what you said here. Pardon me for those of you guys just tuning into me for the first time or you've never encountered me before. My name is Ira. This is Blind Dad Does, and I am blind, so I'm trying to do my best to read the chat room and stuff like that I can without freaking my eyes out too much. So if I do a lot of weird squinting and weird looking and you see me looking all weird in my face, that's because I'm actually just legit trying to read the texts. So give me just a moment as I catch up here a little bit. Been okay enough. Okay, well that's good. That's good. We have missed you, that's for sure. I was discussing some stuff as far as change goes, and you're kind of in it at a great time with it all. So Jolene's been doing well. I'll catch you up on her here a little bit for you. She's been doing really well, and her surgery took place there in December, and actually she just, what was it, yesterday had the 7-month anniversary of the surgery. And the surgery itself went okay, but it's the after effects of the surgery that she had a lot of trouble with. So when they opened her up, did the surgery, everything went okay, but then when they closed her, her blood pressure dropped hard, and they couldn't get it to stay up. So for the first 3 days after the surgery, she was laying in ICU with her chest wall open, trying to just maintain keeping her alive until they could close her back up again. This poor child, she had the intubation tube and everything in, and woke up and was awake the whole weekend when she had this chest wall open and the feeding tube in. And I'm just like, oh honey, go to sleep. You don't need to be awake right now. Just go to sleep. My goodness. But nope, she stayed awake. She came home after about 10 days. She had a couple of little issues during that period of time, but nothing really too major after they were able to get her closed. But then about a month after she came home, she was trying to get recovered, but we noticed that she was having like a lot of really bad problems, like gasping for air, coughing, all that kind of stuff. She was swelling up a lot. So we took her back in to get examined. They realized that they needed to do a thoracentesis because she had fluid on her lung. And when they went to do the thoracentesis, which was about an hour-long outpatient procedure, it turned into an 18-day hospital stay because the doctor punctured her lung and collapsed it. And that led into a whole series of things that were just absolutely horrible. To be honest, we almost lost her a couple of times. But the past few months, since she's recovered from all of that, she's been like improving slowly, but she has been improving. They did tell her that she would be kind of like down for the count and not normal, or at least her normal, for at least a year after the surgery. But the first 3 months were so difficult that I think we're just now starting to come into the real healing time for her. And we've noticed that there's been a lot of improvements over even just the past few weeks of her vim and vigor. And she's been a lot better, like she's feeling a lot more energetic, and like she's perking back up again and that kind of stuff. So, getting better, it's still rough. She's still in heart failure. She's still got low blood pressure. She's still got the other, she's got a lot of issues. Right. But, for her, she's doing a lot better. You know what I mean? Like not normal, but getting more close to what her normal was before she was in the surgery. So, it was a bit of a rough time, but we got her through it. It is deeply appreciated. You know me, I'm not a religious person, but I do know and understand that prayer, positive thoughts, good feelings, all that kind of stuff really do contribute in a big way. So I deeply appreciate any kind of good energy that people can send to her, because it does make a difference. Absolutely. I think that was what got her through everything that she was going through, was so many people pulling for her as hard as they were. It was a rough time. When the doctor came in and talked to me about what we needed to do, I mean, he wasn't really biting any bones about it. I told him, lay it all out for me. Don't hold anything back. You tell me the worst things that can happen here so that I can know. And so that my brain doesn't try to make up as much crap as it could so that I could focus on the worst possible things. You know what I mean? So you tell me what's worst possible thing right now so that I don't have to, worry about it. Right. He laid it out. Yes, she's very much at risk right now of losing, but we can do what we can to pull her through. And, so I absolutely believe that all the people that were putting in as much as they were to her was what got her through. I do. So I was talking a little bit about change and how, like, one of the things that happened with me as I've gotten older is the realization that change is inevitable. I mean, it's kind of what makes life, right? Life is change. You can't go through life without having change, even though we might try to do what we can to keep things the same. I was kind of joking before I got on the air here about how our cat was kind of tripping out about the fact that I got this new backdrop, and cats are all like, no, things have changed. I can't handle this. This is not right, but, yeah, she's ambulatory. She, in fact, just a couple of days ago, we went out for a walk, and we went for a nice long walk together. And by the time it was all said and done, her legs and everything were getting really tired, but her chest did not hurt, and it did not drain her severely to do the walk. And that's a big improvement over even what she had going on before she had the surgery. So a good change occurred with all of it. That was kind of one of the things that she was looking forward to. One of the heart groups that she's in, there was a person that she ended up having an encounter with before her surgery, that spoke about how they had this particular surgery done themselves. And once they got recovered from it, they went to the gym, and they got onto one of the bike machines and used it for a while and had to stop because their legs got tired, which was something that had never happened to them before. It was always their chest would hurt, or they'd get too worn out or anything like that, because of the physical limitations that they have. So she was talking so much before the surgery about how she was looking forward to that kind of a thing happening. And we're starting to see that exact kind of thing happening with her right now. So, I know that's giving her a big boost too, to see that, she's improving in herself. Even like a month and a half ago, she kind of had a little bit of despair going on, because she wasn't sure whether or not she was, getting through everything and all that kind of stuff. And I pointed out to her, hun, I mean, look at how Look at how much difference you're having right now compared to how you were a year ago or even a month ago. You are improving. It's slow, and we expected it to be slow because she's not, I mean, biting no bones about it, she's not in great health, right? She's always in heart failure because of the heart condition that she has. So she's always kind of behind, you know what I mean? What would be considered as quote unquote normal. But for her, I think that she's actually at this point in time, and I know we haven't really talked about it, hun, but I don't know what you think here. But I see Jolene as actually being like, at this point in time, more energetic and full of life and being more herself than she was even before the surgery, like in the months leading up to her surgery. Because she was really starting to have a lot of very severe problems before her surgery kicked in. So I see it like from, again, an outsider's perspective with things. I see that she's improving and that she's actually at this point better than she was during those months leading up to the surgery. So you tell me, hun, how do you feel about it? Yeah, it still varies. I mean, you're probably still going to have that variance going on for at least another few months, because you're still recovering from the surgery itself too. And you've got all the other issues going on, but I do see you as being stronger and more energetic. I mean, even last year, trying to walk around the place where we live, she couldn't do it. Not very well. Like we'd have to stop here and there for her to, catch a moment, catch her breath and that kind of thing. And we just went for a walk a couple of days ago. We walked around. I mean, it must have been for a good half mile and didn't have to stop once. So, I see it as a definite good thing, a good change. So yeah, I mean, absolutely. I'm a big proponent in this idea that every moment really is precious, right? And that's why one of the things I talk about when I'm on the air here, when people come in and they talk, I am grateful that you're spending these moments with me. I'm aware of how precious each moment in a person's life is. And it makes me feel really gratified and really humbled that the choice was made for you to be here in this moment in time.
Oh, I love you. Oh, I love you.
It's just how I feel. So sure, that'd be fine, Jolene. Jolene was sending me a message there. So give us just a moment here, just a quick moment. If she can make it past my big black canvas here. Come on, set it. There she is. She wanted to come say hi to everybody. If you lean in a little bit, they can hear you.
Hello, everybody.
Love you.
Love you.
Have fun. So there you go. She's like, I can come show myself on the camera for everybody if you want. I'm like, sure, go for it. So, yep, exactly. That's exactly what I see. Like every moment that I get with her is precious. Every moment that I get to spend with her, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love her with the fury 1,000 suns could never touch, and, I'm grateful that she chose this old blind guy to make a big difference in life too. So, yep, glowing, definitely. So change is something that I try to focus on in certain ways, because like change really is life. I mean, the entire universe is not the same from moment to moment as it was the previous. You know, everything is in movement, and inevitably everything within ourselves is in movement too. So every cell within our body is, I mean, it's like when people ask how I am, for instance, I joke about it, but I am serious. You know, I'm currently processing oxygen and experiencing cellular death and decay and rebirth, because that's exactly what life is. It's all about, you know, this process of motion. And as long as you're doing that bare minimum thing, right, you're alive, you're well, and everything can go from there. So everything in the entire universe is based on the fact that things are not the same from moment to moment. So change really is inevitable. It's just, what do you do with that change to either improve things or make a difference in your life? Because there is a power that comes with that change. You see, there's a power that comes with that change. And you can either make use of it or not. You see what I mean? Well, hello, Robin. How you doing, dear Sissa? I'm glad that you're able to spend this moment with me. Love you, sis. For those not aware, Robin is my blood sister, and I absolutely adore her. She's like the only person in the family that I have anything to do with. So, well, her and her kids, her kiddos, who are absolutely amazing and beautiful, and your grandkids, the many and sundry grandchildren that you have at this point in time. So anyways, we're talking a little bit about change. We're talking about kind of everything. And you missed Jolene. She just was on the camera here a couple of moments ago, Robin, saying hi to everybody. But good. I'm glad that you're doing okay. I saw that you guys had like horrific rainwater going on over there where you guys are. Is everything okay at your house? Everything good? Only 5 grandkids. Yeah. Give it a little while. There's dozens and dozens on the way, I'm sure. We're in a very prolific family. It's inevitable. Anyway, so we were talking about like changes and things like with life, and how sometimes things are a little bit like inevitable. Even if we don't want them to change, we can still like try to foster it to work for our favor sometimes. And sometimes it doesn't work out that way, but you know, we can do what we can to try to foster that kind of change. I was talking about how like back in my younger years, one of the big changes that was in my life was the fact that, you know, Dad was the person that he was while he was drinking, and then became the person that he was after he quit drinking. And like, you didn't know him while he was in that drinking persona, but the person that he became after that was a pretty decent guy, you know, still had his issues, of course, but wasn't the cruel person that he was while the whiskey was going through his veins. So it's kind of it's one of those things where when you have that type of a person that's in your life that's gone from like one persona into another, it's hard to like quantify the person that you care about. Which one are you going to focus on, right? So what I ended up having to do was figure out a way to make it so that the person that he became was the one that I focused on, not the person that he was. And for me, that helped my mindset out a lot. And it helped me to like move forward with my own life and kind of foster changes within my own life too. So let me catch up with the chat here. Sorry. Yeah, your mom made up for that. Oh, I know. I know. We both went through hell with our parental units, that's for sure. In differing degrees, but it doesn't really matter. Like abuse is abuse, right? Is what it comes down to, and it doesn't matter the form or who it is. It's still something that you have to carry with you for the rest of your days. For me, I made the choice that I wouldn't allow myself to be that person, and I'm glad that I was able to make that so, but that's not an easy process either. It's like sometimes when you go through that situation, it's like you almost have like two different choices. You're either going to be that or you're not. You're going to be as far opposite of it as you can go. And that's sort of the direction that I went. I'm about as far opposite as you can go. I don't, and it's like, I see that happening with other people. I see other people going through that kind of a situation, and it just really, it hurts my soul, to see them going through it. And I want to do everything I can do to help them out of it. So, hell is hell, right? Exactly. And it doesn't matter the form or format. It's still hell. So one of the things that I think the universe sort of is about is change, because we are in this state of being where, like, from one moment to the next, nothing is the same, even on every fundamental level, really. It's weird though, because we humans have a tendency to like hold on to all of it because we don't like change. It's like our brains actively work against making changes because it's a survival instinct for things to remain the same. It's kind of weird how it works, but I think that like we kind of evolved with these different processes in place, and they're hardwired into us in certain ways that when we want to make a change, it's like our subconscious minds fight against it, because if we were to make any changes, then we risk dying, because our situation that we're currently in, we're surviving, we're alive. And if we make a change, then we risk death. You see what I mean? It doesn't know how to handle not being in that situation. So, hello, Caitlin. Welcome. I hope that you're having a very good day. I'm very grateful for you to be here in this moment in time. And we're just kind of talking about whatever comes to everybody's minds. Our kind of main topic, I guess you could say, is change. But, literally the table is open for the discussions about whatever anybody has on their minds. So I have zero issue with any of that. But for those of you guys just tuning in, welcome. I hope that you're having great days. My name is Ira. This is Blind Dad Does. Right now, Blind Dad is doing a little bit of gabbing about whatever comes to the mind. And yeah, just having fun, having a good time. And for those of you curious, yes, I am legitimately blind. Basically anything past a few inches in front of my face is completely gone to me. So if you see me doing weird things with my face, I'm just sitting here trying to read the chat on my phone that's a little bit further away from me than what I would normally have it. So I'm having to squint really hard to be able to discern what the words are so that I can respond to you guys. So So Dawns, yeah, I accidentally unplugged my headphones here, so I'm going to fix them back up again here real quick. But one of the things that I think that we really need to like understand about with our own brains and our own minds is that like we can get caught up in such a loop of what if and what might be's that it's hard for us to escape to get into something new, you know, like it almost like festers within us in certain ways. This thought of, well, if I had done this differently, then things would be different. And so then we're kind of wallowing in that misery, you know, and not wanting to change things because we'd rather be in that little bit of wallow. You know what I mean? I think that happens with some people. I know it's happened with me in my own life in different ways. But oh, no problem. No problem. I get new people that come in all the time. Like, they may not say anything, but I can see the numbers like shifting up and down on the viewers. So I know that like people are stepping in, and I just want to catch everybody up on things that they may miss or may not realize is there in that moment. So I do vape. One of the changes that I made in my own life right now, I can go into that. I smoked for about 30 years. I started smoking when I was very young. I was like 12 years old when I first picked it up as a continuous habit. And so when I got together with Jolene, one of the problems was that if I would smoke around her, it would make her chest hurt really bad. Like it really bothered her. And even like if I didn't smoke around her, just the fact that it was like on my body as much as it was really got to her as well. It made her chest hurt, made her body kind of freak out a little bit. So 8 years ago, actually, as of a few days ago, I had my eight-year anniversary for this. I quit smoking and I switched over to vaping. I did the vaping because I had tried quitting before and it didn't work out. I still needed that nicotine. I still needed that sensation in my lungs and all that kind of stuff. So I tried out vaping, and it ended up doing me a lot of good. Like within 24 hours of the first time I started vaping, I quit smoking altogether, and I haven't smoked since. Well, I take that back. I had one cigarette I think it was about a year and a half after I quit smoking, just to remind myself of what it was like, you know, just out of nowhere. I found like an old pack of cigarettes, and I decided, yeah, I'll try one out, and just to do it. Right. I took 2 puffs and like I gagged so hard. I had to go in and take a shower. Like I took 3 showers straight, you know, one after the other, cause I couldn't get the smell off of me. I brushed my teeth constantly. I mean, it was like, oh God, no. This was a bad idea, Ira. Bad idea. But the nice thing is that even though I do vape and I vape around her, I could we've tested it out. I could blow it right in her face and it doesn't bug her at all. Not one little bit. It doesn't hurt her chest, nothing. And so, I've stuck with it. I know I probably should quit altogether, but I've stuck with it because, it's habitual, you know, but, as long as it doesn't bother her, then, you know, we're okay. So, Robin, there's a term that I came up with a long time ago for exactly that, because my brain goes through that so much, and I call it analysis paralysis. I know I didn't make the phrase up. I like ran across it somewhere a long time ago, and I've just been using it ever since. But analysis paralysis, we get so wrapped up in all of the different choices or all of the different possibilities that are there that we end up not making a step in any direction because we're too busy locked in place, arguing with our own brains, or you know, what do I do? I don't know what to do. And so then we just end up doing nothing, you know. And it's kind of horrible, really. And it's something that I've tried to do changes in myself with over the years, but I've not managed to do it as well as I would like to. I've gotten better with it, but I don't do it as well as I would like to, you know? But at least I can admit it, right? That's part of the point, right? Anyways, so you guys will catch me vaping here and there. If it annoys you, pardon me, but It keeps me from murdering everybody. I think so too. It's kind of weird because I do think that in some ways, not like it'd be mild, right? But I do think that in some ways I have a form of autism and I have a form of OCD. Because I mean, you can ask Jolene, like the stuff that I've gone through, like just for instance, like getting myself on the air here again. I realize what I need to do and I cannot let it go until it's done. And I will do it to the point of distraction, deep obsession, and driving her poor butt nuts. She's very patient with me and very kind with me. And I'm very eternally grateful for the person that she is to put up with this old blind fart trying to get everything working. But thankfully I'm at the point with my sound setup and all that kind of stuff where I'm reasonably satisfied with it. So I'm not doing things every day to tweak it again. Because I don't want to screw anything up from what it is at this moment in time. If I start tweaking it again, I'm afraid I'm going to fall into that hole again and it's just going to, snowball into things that I don't want it to be. And then I'll end up ruining everything and, oh God, what am I going to do now? And so on and so forth. These are the thoughts that go through Iowa's brain, it's there. So strained in the limbo. Yeah. Yep. It is a horrible experience though, when you're the kind of person that you don't want to be this way, but you are this way, so what are you supposed to do? Especially if you were to seek help for it, the first thing they want to do is put you on different drugs and stuff like that. And it's like, but I don't want to go that direction with myself. I know that I could maybe do things just tweaking myself in a different way and not be medicated to do it. What can I do about that? Right. So there are different things that I've come up with over the years to try to help myself, like get through it and deal with it and such, but it doesn't always work. Stay out of the rabbit hole for sure. It's like, look guys, I know how much this woman loves me because like she puts up with so much stuff. It's crazy. Like I'll be satisfied. Everything will be working fine. She'll go to sleep. She'll wake up and I talk to her. Oh God, this thing happened or this thing happened, or I got to do this and I got to do this. And she's just like, oh honey, please stop. I can just hear it in her brain, like I can hear it whispering, please don't do this to me. I don't do fast food very often. I don't like it very much, like on a constant basis, not like I used to. And I don't really particularly care for Arby's, but I love their jalapeno poppers and I love their Jamaica shakes. My goodness, they're horrible for a diabetic to get a hold of, but they are so good. Anyways. Right, exactly. Yeah. It's like, if I fall down the rabbit hole of obsession, no matter what it is, like it can be literally anything. I will get stuck in it until I either figure it out or give it up because like I realize that it's affecting Jolene or something like that. You know what I mean? And that will make me like break out of it because I care about her as much as I do. But it takes me a while to get to that point. You know what I mean? So, I don't know what to do about it though, cause it's how I've been like my whole life. I'm that way when it comes to like germs. Like I'm unfortunately a fair bit of a germaphobe, and, my mind will like latch on to things that I don't want it to. And I won't be able to function very well if I let that happen. So for instance, if I go to a restaurant, like if Jolene and I go to a restaurant to eat or something like that, and I see like somebody drop something, just as a weird example, right? I see somebody drop something. My mind will latch on to, oh my God, that person just picked that up off the floor, like that waitress or whatever, picked that up off the floor. Now they're going to go in the back. They're going to get my food. They're going to bring it out. And whatever was there on the floor is now going to be on my plate. And I'm going to be eating what was there on the floor. You see what I mean? Like it starts spinning all of this stuff. And then like that thing, that way that my mind works is good in some ways. Like when I'm writing a story, you know, I can really get down and dirty making a lot of detail because my brain will go into those details, right? But it's not good for the cases where you're just trying to go out and enjoy yourself or whatever. Another example is like, this is going to be weird. Okay. Pardon me for being weird, but you guys know I'm weird. We'll drive down the road and I'll see a car pass by and my brain will latch on to the thought of, okay, there's another person that's in that car. What's their life like? What's going on with them? And I'll like start like tumbling down a rabbit hole of who this other person is and what's going on with them and what's going on with their life and so on and so forth. And then like Jolene will try to say something to me and like I don't even catch that she's talking to me because I'm just sitting there spinning in my mind this thought of this other person, right? Or again, driving down the road, somebody will pass us by and suddenly I think to myself, oh my God, we almost died. We could have been killed there, right? Because what if they swerved over slightly? And it's like then my brain starts tumbling around. Okay, you know, and I could see the car accident happen. I could see us flying out the windows. I could see us tumbling on the floor or on the ground, you know, and rolling and my body laying there broken. And so it's like it just goes and I can't stop it until it has reached its conclusion. You know what I mean? It's not really a fun way to be. But I don't know what to do to make that kind of thing stop if it kicks in. I hope that makes sense. I know it probably doesn't because it's how my brain is. But trying to explain it is weird, you know? Jolene is not at all a germaphobe. Yeah, it's weird because like oh my God, she kills me sometimes. I'm telling you, like she'll like a piece of food, like she'll drop something or something like that, and she'll just like pick it up, munch on it. I'm like, oh God, no, don't do that. Oh God, she's like, what? It's no big deal. It's just a piece of popcorn or whatever, you know. Don't kiss me with that mouth. Oh. Right? Okay, Robin. See, I'm glad to know that I'm not alone with it because it really freaks the hell out of me sometimes when this happens. Like, why does this happen? You know, it's like it won't stop, and then it's like. If it happens once, then inevitably it's going to happen multiple times through the trip. You know, it's like we had to go to Indianapolis a few weeks back so that Jolene could get her checks done again. And the whole trip there, like, I was trying to talk to her, trying to converse with her, but at the same time, my brain is like warping through all of this kind of stuff, you know? And it was like a 2-hour drive. And then like we get there and the only thing I can think of is like someone walked in here just before we did and they, like it might've been yesterday or something like that, right? They walked in just after we did, or just before we did, and their body expired right here or something like that, you know? And it's like, okay, now I'm standing in this spot where a dead body has been, you know? And that's not a germaphobe part of me, but then it's like I start thinking about what was that person's life like, you know? Were they alone? Were they happy? Did they have a decent life? You know, and it just like starts going on and on and on. And I've tried to pinpoint like where this kind of thing with me began, and as far as I can think, like it's been with me all the time, you know, like the whole trip, the whole way in my life. So yes, Robin, me too. Absolutely. Me too. And, see, that's where I wonder, because I've done talks about this kind of stuff on different shows that I've done and that kind of thing, you know, and that's where I wonder like where the whole multiverse theory comes into play. Like, are the times that you've seen yourself die on those trips actually realities somewhere that you ended up picking up on, and now you have the knowledge of what happened to this other version of you for whatever reason? And I do think there's something to it. I really do, because it's like there are different things that I've encountered in my life that show me that this is a very big possibility. You know, I don't know 100%, but there are different things that show me that this is a very big possibility of what actually occurs. See, I think what happens, and this is something that I ran across a long time ago, and it's something that's like kind of stuck with me over the years as a really big possibility. Again, I don't know 100% whether or not this is something that is real. Giving a preface to it there, right? But it's like there might be like an over version of ourselves, right? Like there's an Uber Robin that's there in the universe that like is connected to all of the different versions of yourself in these different multiple dimensions, right? And that it is aware of all of the things that are going on with the sub Robins. Weird way to put it, but the sub Robins. And so if it's looking like at one, you know, when that kind of an event happens, right, then maybe something happens where like the rest of you become aware of what occurred with it. You see what I mean? I don't know. It's one of those weird things that comes to my mind, you know? Hey there, Cher. Welcome. I hope that you're having a really good day. We're just kind of like having a general conversation about anything and everything that comes up. And if you're new here, pardon my weird looks and that kind of thing when I'm trying to read the chat room, but I am legit a blind guy, so I'm trying to do the best that I can to catch everything that everybody says when they're typing into the chat rooms and stuff. So choice, a selection between options. Is that not the assessment of the options? Yes. I mean, Really, that's what it really comes down to. Yeah. And it's like, there's times where we go through life and we realize that we need to make changes in our life, but we may be resistant to it. And we got to try to figure out why we're resistant to those, changes, you know? And sometimes that's not easy to figure out. So, right. Exactly, Rob. It's like, or Dawn, sorry. It's like, I'll give you an example from my own life that's happened like multiple times, right? So we'll be driving down the road and there will be a car passing us by, like I was given earlier, right? There'll be a car that's passing by. And like in that moment in time, I know I died. Like the car swerved over. I could literally see the car swerve over, smack into the front of the car. I go flying. I feel every bit of it, right? I feel every little bit of it. And I know I died, but I didn't. That's happened so many times, like not just with the driving example, but with other things that have occurred in my life where I know I died in that moment in time, but I didn't, you know? Why is that? You know, is it just something that my brain has like done to itself and therefore I'm like aware of whatever, or is it actually a thing where there are these other universes or these other dimensions, you know, these other versions of our reality where this actually did occur, and for whatever reason I became aware of it, you know? I don't know the answer to it, but it's just one of the weird things that comes to the mind. Yes, genetic memories. It is absolutely a thing. It is absolutely a thing. I know that there are with our ancestry, we carry a certain amount of genetic traumas within us. And I've seen it in my kids. I've seen it in myself, you know, and it's kind of horrible because then you have to try to figure out, like, are the traumas that I'm feeling the things that I've actually gone through, or is it because the things that I've gone through have triggered the traumas that are actually genetic and I'm feeling them a lot more than what I would otherwise? I hope that makes sense. Like, that's kind of a weird way to put it, but but you know, what's interesting too is that, like, different studies in ancestry have figured out that at some point in prehistory, perhaps in the year 11,000 BC or so, there was something that occurred and there were only about 6,000 humans left. So all of us that are remaining are descendants of those 6,000 or so people that had survived whatever occurred during that period of time. And we've just kind of like all been going through the motions ever since of, you know, going through life. But for whatever reason, maybe some of our genetic traumas are actually tied to that series of events, whatever it was that occurred in that period of time. So why, sure, take us wherever. I mean, my life, my shop, my tales right here are an open book. You know what I mean? Like, well, I'm happy and willing to talk about anything shy of like topics that really shouldn't be talked about. Like, you know, don't be racist, don't be a dick. All that kind of stuff really is what it comes down to. You know what I mean? So I've done a lot of different like researches over the years, especially when I was doing the radio shows. You know, I talked to a lot of people, a lot of guests that I had on that went into topics like this that were really interesting, you know, mind experiments and thought experiments and thoughts of like what what we humans have been through and so on and so forth, and what may really be happening. And, you know, not to get too conspiratorial on you guys, but I do think that there's a lot more in the world going on than what people realize, you know. So okay, well, I do have it set. I think that links can be shared in the rooms, but if you want to kind of give just like a real quick overview, that'd be really cool. I'd appreciate it. But I have it set like that so that people can't just come in and like drop random porn links and that kind of stuff into the chat. So because I've dealt with YouTube long enough, I know what that kind of rabbit hole can go down. So share what you know. Exactly. I know that my own personal mind does a lot of catastrophizing. Like what I was talking about earlier in the show, I don't think that you were here for that then, but my wife went through a really major open heart surgery back in December, and we almost lost her a couple of times. And I told the doctors, look, you've got to tell me all of the things that can go wrong. Like, you've got to lay it all out on the table for me right here, right now. Because if you don't, my mind is going to do what it can to figure out all of the different horrific things that it possibly can. And I'm just going to sit and I'm going to obsess over them, you know? So save me from myself. Tell me all the things that you think can possibly go wrong in the here and now. So that's what I can concentrate on. And I can tell my mind, no. The doctor already told you that's not what's going to happen. You see what I mean? It's hard to be a person that has that on them, you know, and I got to try to, like, I've had to try to figure out ways to to tweak my brain so that it doesn't do that kind of thing. But it's really hard not to, for me, you know. It sucks, but just catching up on the chat here, sorry. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, that is definitely interesting, Dawns. I know that I've had dreams that have been very lucid over the years, and I've had dreams where, for instance, getting a little bit weird with you guys, I can be laying there and there's like a figure above me, and I can like feel information coming into myself. Like it's literally pouring into me like it's a data download. I look at the brain as being like a computer, because it really is when it comes down to it. It's like a computer that we can access different files within our brain, and different stuff gets downloaded into us and all that kind of stuff. And so it's like I've had dreams where there's this like figure above me downloading information into my brain. And when I wake up, I actually feel like there's information that I've got there that I didn't have before, you know? It's a little weird, but it is an experience that I've had multiple times over the years. So layers animated by live energy force. Well, I mean, that's a big possibility. I think that in some, and again, you know, interesting thought experiments to do, you know, what is reality, right? I mean, there have been, interestingly enough, there was a bit of research that was done, some years ago, looking into the mathematics of the universe and string theory and all of that kind of stuff, right? And what this group of mathematicians realized was that the numbers that make up certain portions of code within the universe, at least as we understand it, is the same mathematics that's used in IPv4 programming, the Internet Protocol. is the error checking protocol for the internet. And this exact same set of code is found within the mathematics of the universe too. So it's like, okay, so is the universe like in reality somewhat of a computer simulation? You know, are we nothing but Sims running around, you know, going through our lives, but we're under control of the user that's playing the game here, you know? Yeah, share what you know. To give some background on myself, I used to do radio shows. I did them for about 6 years, and a lot of the shows that I talked about, a lot of the shows that I did, were like talking about the weird stuff, you know, like stuff that just doesn't normally get discussed. And so I like to try to make people think. You know, I've been exposed to a lot of different information over the years, and you know, I consider myself lucky enough that I was able to speak to a diverse amount of people while I was doing those radio shows that really like made my mind rush, made my mind think, made my mind like open in some ways and close in others, you know? I mean, but I'm also a writer, right? So I already like imagine a lot of different possibilities, for what reality can be, what life is like, what really makes us tick, you know? These are the subjects that I find the most fascinating, and I like to just come on and talk about things, you know? It's like, not to bash anybody or anything like that, but a lot of people that are around Twitch and YouTube and that kind of stuff that are doing live shows, you know, I mean, you look at the most popular ones and what is it? It's cleavage, you know, it's a lot of fluff, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's not me. Like, I know I could probably get a lot of numbers by showing some cleavage, but my beard would cover it up. And frankly, you guys don't want to see that. So, you know, for me, my personal preference is coming on here and having nice, deep thoughts, entertaining thoughts, you know, fun thoughts and all that kind of stuff with people who, you know, just want to sit here and chill for a little bit, you know, and have some interesting talks, you know? So, that's what I do. That's what I like to do. But yeah, I've taken a lot of the information that I've heard over the years. I've tried to synthesize it in certain ways that makes it so that my brain can be satisfied with things. And I've also tried to spend my time thinking about what is life really, you know, what is it all about? I've had a lot of experiences in my life that have made it so that my best way I can put it, my vision is skewed a little bit, you know? I don't see, like, here's what it really comes down to. Okay. And this is not like a pride thing or something. I'm not saying this like out of a pride thing or anything like that. Don't take me wrong with this. Okay. But I see life a lot differently than you guys do, because I literally am blind with a weird vision issue. Right. So I don't perceive things in the way that everybody else does. I'm not meaning that I'm better. I'm not meaning that I'm like, right. I just mean that like my reality is literally not your reality in fundamental ways, because I don't see the same way that everybody else does. So I've tried to like figure out, okay, so if I have these things existing, then why, what can I do to help people see reality in this skewed kind of a way too, I guess is what it really comes down to. Okay, let me catch up here a little bit. So my desire to better understand the world is again coming from the perspective of somebody that's been through a lot of stuff. I mean, I've been through a lot of abuse. I've been through a lot of, honestly, when it comes down to it, shy of death itself and giving birth myself, I've probably been through everything that a human being can go through. I've gone through the ringer. And so I've had to try to ask myself, okay, what is the purpose for this? I tried to commit suicide 33 times when I was younger. Why am I still here? What is my purpose here? So that kind of led me down the rabbit hole of thought of trying to figure out, okay, if I'm meant to be here, then what is the reason why I'm here? And if I'm here for that reason, then what can I do to make it more of a reality? What can I do to make it more come to fruition and all of that kind of stuff? Like all those things run through the head. You know what I mean? So, and then I lost my vision. About 12 years ago is when all of that kicked in. So, stubbornness can be a good thing. Yeah, it really can be. It really can be. It just depends on, I think, what you're stubborn about, I guess. For me, I'm stubborn about certain topics, like the fact that I adore my wife. Like, there's nobody that's ever going to take that away from me, no matter how hard they try, but I'm not stubborn on, am I correct or not? You see what I mean? Like, in the thoughts that I have, or in the processes of discovery that I've done, I kind of try to come at things from as much of a scientific perspective as I can, because at heart, like that is a passion of mine. But okay, best way I can put it, I guess, is that I believe firmly in having an open mind, but not one that's so open that your brain falls out. And I also think that one of the greatest signs of intelligence of a person is how much they can argue all sides of a thing without actually believing in that thing, because then you can make a clear choice based on all of the knowledge that it's possible to have about that certain subject, if that makes sense. Yeah, in a perseverance kind of way. Yeah. So I try to live life like by being a person that anybody can come to and talk about anything, and they can know that I'm not going to judge them about who they are or what they've been through, because I've probably been through it too. You know what I mean? In some kind of way. I try to be as supportive of a person as I can. Like, for instance, I don't understand why some parents take it upon themselves to lambaste and mistreat their children when their children come to them with the fact that they are gay or trans or whatever the case may be. I don't understand how parents can do that kind of a thing. I don't get it, but I know that happens. So I want to be a place where people can come and say, hey, this is who I am, and have the understanding that no matter who and what you are, no matter what you've been through, you're worthy of being loved. You see what I mean? That's what I want my life to be, is to be that person that's there for everybody that needs it, you know? Taking observations as judgments. I'm trying to discern what you're trying to say with that one. So are you meaning like observing something and then passing judgment on the thing that you're observing without knowing all of the facts about it? Is that what you're? I'm just trying to make sure I'm clear on what you're meaning with it. Give me just a brief moment. I'm going to be right back as well while you guys type that out. I'm sorry. I just have to AFK real quick. Sorry. Okay, guys, sorry about that. I have returned once again to your loving embrace, so to speak. And share what you know. You didn't respond to what I was asking there, but I'm going to make the assumption that you're talking about passing judgments on things that you're observing, perhaps without knowing the full story to it. I try, like, we as human beings, we do have a tendency to do that kind of a thing, and it's hard not to sometimes. But I do try to be aware that sometimes the instinctive thing that we think may not always be the correct thing, and we might not like have caught the full story right away. Are you meaning in chat, Robin, or are you meaning with my vape? Just making sure. Sorry, just trying to catch up on everything now that I'm back from AFK here. Jolene is actually heading to bed, so my mod is not here at the moment. But I'm modding, I guess you could say. So, why? What's up? Just making sure. Cheapest kind of meat. I guess it depends on like where in the world you're at. That would be like entirely dependent upon that kind of a circumstance. I suppose when it comes down to it, probably the cheapest that you can get would be what you would catch or hunt yourself. But you know, deer testicles, yeah, that would definitely be. Oh, okay, Ollie. Yeah, Ollie is I think prepping their own show as well right now. They were gonna go live later on too. So they're probably getting themselves prepped up too. They're just under $1. I love that dad joke. That's an awesome one. Indeed, indeed. For some reason my little sound thing isn't working. I'm gonna have to change that around a little bit. It decided not to work.
It's so fabulous.
There we go. There we go. I pushed the button and it's like, nah, it just wants to sit there and do nothing. So anyways, so with change, we humans have like such a hard time changing anything, I think, because like we're pre-programmed with this idea that we can't change. If we change, then we're gonna actually like not be able to survive what we're changing into. It's like we have this weird subconscious thing that happens where the thought is there, like we're surviving whatever circumstance we're in at that moment in time, and if we do anything different, then we're doomed. We're gonna die. It's not gonna work out, and everything's gonna fail, and you know, all of that stuff. So, sure, no problem, Dawns. Have fun. So we're kind of resistant inherently to change because we get like this complacency. Even if things are bad, there's like this complacency that's there that makes it really difficult for us to shift out of it. You know what I mean? It takes work. It's hard. It's oh, we can't do this. It's hard, or some, you know, that kind of thing that goes through the head. I mean, I went through it with my second wife, who was really abusive. I was afraid to leave. I knew I had to leave, but I was resistant to leaving because the fear of leaving was greater than the pain of being there. You know, when I finally did get away, it was to my benefit, but it was really difficult for me to do that. I've known other people that, you know, they go through the abuse and, well, I love him and that kind of thing. And it's like, okay, well, I get that. Believe me, I do. But this is not like the circumstance to be in either, right? But it's like that change is scary. That change is very difficult, even though we know that it might be the best thing for us, even though we know that it might be the one thing in our lives that we really need. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? It's one of those, again, it's a weird thought that goes through my head because I've been through a lot myself, and it's like, I got to try to figure out, okay, well, why am I going through it? Sorry, I realized that the music was a little louder than I wanted it to be. Sorry about that. I mean, it's like getting into a conflict with a person, right? When you're having an argument with somebody, or you're not getting along, or whatever the case may be, one of the best things that you can maybe do is to take a step back and think about where that other person is coming from, put yourself in their shoes and think about where their argument is coming from. And then maybe you can understand why you're resistant to whatever it is that they're saying, because you might be like so set on things in your own mind that you're not being able to see from their perspective at all. Sometimes easier to stay with the known than to throw yourself into the unknown. Yeah, you're right there. You're right there. Shares, maybe your unconscious makes those decisions. Making choices that I'm not in control of would scare me too. Yeah, and you know what really sucks about that too is that, like, every choice that we make, everything that we do is made through the lens of everything that we have been through in our lives previously. So all of your experiences that you've had, the TV shows that you've watched, the movies that you've watched, the people that you meet when you're crossing the street, the waitress at the diner, all of these things, all of these people, all of these encounters, all of these knowledges that you've taken into yourself are still rattling around in your brain, even if you're not thinking about them. And so every decision that you make is also made through all of those past choices, like they've not only literally led you to where you're at in that moment in time, but they are also what makes the decision for you in a lot of cases, unless you become self-aware enough that you can bypass that circuit, so to speak, and try to, make the decision on a more conscious level. That's where things get a little freaky and a little bit weird, because that's not easy to do. Right. And two, I mean, bear in mind that we as human beings too always kind of tend towards the negative anyways, because that's where the shadows are. That's where the lions are that are going to bite us in the ass if we're not paying attention to them. Right. So, we have to kind of pay attention to the negative things, but we don't have to live in the negative things if we make the choice not to. We can choose to take different paths if we are, for lack of better terms, having enough testicular fortitude to make it that way. You know what I mean? And that's both male and female perspective, that you've got to have enough willpower and self-control and all of the other factors that go with it to be able to, make that change, in the way that you want it to be, despite the fears and everything. It's like, the person who is bravest is not one who has, it has failed, but it's the person, I'm sorry, the bravest person is not the person who like just went out, but it's the one who like had all the fears and went out despite them. You see what I mean? Right, shares, exactly. You're on the right track with it, exactly. To me, like, people always say, well, they want the knight in shining armor and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, why would you want the knight in shining armor? The knight in shining armor is the one that's unproven. That's a warrior that has never been through battle. What you want is somebody whose armor is all dinged up, worn down, and their sword is half broken and all that kind of stuff, because they're the survivor. They're the one that's been through everything, and they've still come through, and they're right there for you. That's the person that you want in your life, right? So and it's kind of that way with our own selves. We until we have kind of tested our mettle, so to speak, we don't necessarily know what we're capable of, and we don't test our mettle without making the choices that are in front of us that we know are going to be hard, that we know are going to be the hardest ones. Going in that direction is not always an easy case, but sometimes the worst choice is the only choice, and sometimes the best choice is the choice that we can make. Does one have to die to have an opinion of death? I don't think so. But I think that, and again, you guys might think me weird for this, right? But I think that death is not the end. I think that we are back here again and again and again. This is not our first time around this maypole, and it's not going to be our last. I do believe that we are reincarnations, and that we are not exactly who we think we are. My wife, Jolene, had a near-death experience when she was 4 years old, and it revealed to her some incredible things. Like, the events that took place during this near-death experience were absolutely amazing. And that near-death experience, while she was on the other side, she was given the option of going home or staying here, and going to paraphrase a lot. I know if she was awake, she would be like all kind of freaking out. No, you're getting it wrong. But I'm just going to paraphrase briefly that this near-death experience, it, like, the being that she met on the other side showed her the different things that were going to be happening through her life, and they have all come to fruition. Like, every one of them, up to and including meeting me and our kids and so on and so forth. All of the things that she was shown when she was 4 years old and on the other side have come true. Well, what does that mean for our reality? What does that mean for death? What does that, So it's like, she has no fear of death in any way, shape, or form. She's always on the verge of it because of her heart condition, but she's not seeking to go there, but she's not at all worried about it either. And for me, her experiences have changed my own life. I've been a person my whole life that has been able to see spirits. So I know that death is a reality. I know that there is something of us that has remained after death, but what is it, right? Well, there's a lot of different possibilities for that too that we could go into, but that's probably a whole different show, right? But what her experience has taught me is that the reality that we live in may not necessarily be the one that we think. How much of our lives is actually in our control, and how much of it is due to, like, the fate that we fall into. I think that destiny is a thing, but that we can derail destiny through the choices that we make, quite frankly. And I think that's kind of what I was getting into before with the whole, multiverse kind of an idea. Maybe just the one that we're in right now is based on the choices that we've made to this point in time. And had we made other choices, then we would be in one of these other dimensions, so to speak. And not aware of this one. Maybe the you that you are is somebody that's completely different, and you're not even listening to me speaking right now, or communicating with me at all, So But it's like, again, going back to with her near-death experience, we when we discussed all of it, and she revealed to me all of the things that she had learned during her experience, my thought was, okay, well then how much of my own choices in life have been mine? I went through all of these experiences with, abuse and going through 3 different marriages before I got to her, and so on and so on and so on, right? So how much of my own choices were actually mine, and how much of them were actually just fate deciding them for me so that I could be led to her? So that then her near-death experience, the future that she was shown, could become a reality. It's like, these are the weird thoughts. These are the weird things that happen sometimes that make one wonder, okay, well, what really is reality? What really is reality, and what really is choice when faced with something of that kind of a magnitude? You see what I mean? Right. DMT is definitely a thing. And see, and if it was just a series of events or whatever that took place while she was there on the other side, and, okay, well, here's what your life's been like, and so on and so forth, as a 4-year-old, what kind of, your life goes before your eyes. Well, this was really short, what kind of things go through, right? But then you take into consideration that she was shown everything. Like, it was laid out, like the way that she describes it, it was like a book was open in front of her, the pages were turning, and on each page was different stages of her life and the things that were going on. She saw me, like, not just, okay, you're going to be together with a guy who's, blah, blah, blah. No, she was shown my image. She was shown the image of my kids being there in her life, being her husband and her kids. You see what I mean? Like, all of these things were shown to her at 4 years old. And she was given the choice. You can either choose to stay here, or you can go back. And if you go back, then this is what's going to happen. You see what I mean? So it's like, I've heard people's near-death experiences many times over the years. Again, I did radio shows, and some of them were all about near-death experiences and the things that people have had happen to them on the other side. And hers in particular strikes me really hard because it involves me. Like, she saw me. She didn't know me then. You know what I mean? Like, so how do you explain that other than that there has to be something to it, other than the fact that there has to be something there on the other side that's extraordinarily different than anything that we've ever experienced in this reality? Sure. I mean, you could chalk it up to a hallucination, but it still doesn't explain how she saw me and knew from the moment that she saw me that this was the person that she was meant to be with. I mean, it's like that is not explained by just a hallucination. That's not explained by just DMT getting released into the brain. There's a lot of other things that are factored into it besides just something along those lines. You see what I mean? Like, there's a component that's missing from it. So I don't know. It's just, it's the way that reality is, it's the way that reality is. Reality is so many different things that any one of these could be true and could be the reality. And none of us would know for sure. None of us would know for sure, because I don't think we're really meant to know. I really don't. I don't think that we're meant to know. I think that the exploration of what reality is part of the reason for our existence. The very question and the ability to answer in our own terms, our own realities are our realities. My reality is different from your reality. Your reality is different from her reality. Her reality is different from her reality. You see what I mean? It's like all of these different perspectives contribute to the whole, and it makes the sum greater than the whole. I hope that all that makes sense. To me, what's the ultimate fun for me is to be able to discuss all of these different things with so many different people, and have done it for a number of years now, so that I have been able to get exposure to, you know, all of these different thought processes or thought experiments or possibilities, and can in my own little way try to just give information to people so that they can make use of it in their own ways. So Dawns, the reason why you're seeing things a little weird, you're going to want to watch the chat that's on the screen, not the stuff that's in the chat box on the side of the screen and that kind of thing. Because I'm actually simulcasting on both Twitch and YouTube. So some people are talking into the Twitch chat, some people are talking into the YouTube chat, and I'm trying to basically respond to both as they come in. But on the screen, like where you see me right here, I have the chat rooms for both on the side there so that you guys can be able to read from both if you want to participate with each other. It's a little weird, but you know, for years I streamed onto YouTube more than Twitch. I actually haven't done anything with Twitch up until the past few weeks. And so like, I'm just trying to make sure that everybody's being able to foster a conversation with each other. I know it's a little bit difficult, but you know, I don't want to also like neglect the people that I have as followers over on YouTube while I'm doing things on Twitch too. So that's why you're seeing things a little bit bizarrely. Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because I do have a lot of people that are over on YouTube. Like in some ways I do prefer to broadcast over on Twitch. Because like the live stuff is a little bit better fostered over on Twitch as opposed to YouTube. But again, like I still have a lot of people that watch me through YouTube. So, yeah, so that's why I'm still there doing things. So anyways, but either way, like for those of you guys just coming in, I see that we do have a couple of new people that are filtering in and stuff. My name is Ira. Hello, welcome, and I hope that you're having a really good day. I am really appreciative of all of you guys being here in this moment in time. I'm very grateful for every moment that you have decided to be here with me, and I do hope that it has been worthwhile. At the very least, that I've been able to make you think a little bit, or to you know, just have a little bit of fun, you know, in a different kind of a way. But I'm very grateful for you guys being here in this moment in time. If you are over on Twitch, make sure you guys hit the follow button. I'm live every day, and I would love for you guys to become a member of my community, my little family. If you're over on YouTube, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And again, you know, I come live every day, so I would love for you guys to be a part of my little family here. So let me catch up on chat here just a little bit. Sorry. It does make sense to me, Robin. I've known people with DID as well, and I think in some ways I do have it too. And because I have like that part of my persona, part of my makeup that's the serene heart. I know from like some people that I've dealt with don't have any inkling of what occurs to them while they're in that alter version. And then there are others that have like a at least some idea of what occurred, like, but they didn't have any control factor over it. Like it was just there, you know, and they didn't have like a direct line of connection. It's like more like they're a puppet, you know what I mean? And just watching the puppet show as opposed to being the puppeteer, I guess is the best way that I can put it. There was a lot of P's there. I hope I didn't plosive too much into the microphone. But I'm very fascinated by the topic of DID. I think that for some people, DID comes about because of trauma, you know, and it's like each of these little portions of alters are kind of crystallized versions of that trauma moment, perhaps. I've seen that in some people, and then in others, it's more like the brain is partitioned like a computer hard drive, and each of these partitions are like individuals from each other. You know what I mean? So one of my issues over the years, though, is I have tried many times to meditate, and I can't get it to work right. Like I can't do it very well, and I wish I could. Because there are times where I definitely wish that I could go into a meditative state, but I've never been able to manage it very well. So with automatic mode, can you explain that a little bit deeper, if you're willing to talk about it? For me, like, I know that there's certain automatic things that happen. Like, I'm one that really suffers from like, or when I did drive anyway, I suffered from road hypnotism a lot. I had a very difficult time, like, staying focused. My brain would just unlatch and start wandering on its own. And I would not realize how I got from point A to point B more frequently than I really like to admit. So it's like your brain is cut off from like actually remembering what occurred during those periods of time, Robin. Not that it was necessarily a different person that was like, people would realize that it wasn't somebody else. Like it would still be you, but you just don't, you've got those gaps in the memory. Yeah, road hypnotism, I had it bad. And what sucked is that I was a driver for a lot of the years that I worked. I was a driver in different aspects, up to and including like not truck driver over the road, but I did a lot of driving for, like one job that I had that was really fun was I drove railroad workers from one location to another. So they would like get dropped off from their 24-hour or 48-hour work shift. And I would have to like take them to a place like across the state or something like that, where their wives or husbands or whatever would pick them up and take them home until their next shift started. And another one that I did, I loved this one. I was a legal drug runner. I worked for a pharmacy, and we would deliver medications to like different nursing homes and that kind of thing. So the route that I had would be about 280 miles a day worth of driving, and it was all done at night. So that was an interesting job. I liked that one a lot. I had a lot of time to just sit and listen to music and stuff. So okay, so I wonder, because I know that you've been through a lot of abuse, and I wonder like how much of that might be in relation. Like, have you ever tried to work through what triggers that kind of a thing, or do you maybe have an idea of what makes it happen? I know for my stuff, when that kind of thing kicks in a little bit for me, usually it's when I'm feeling like those moments of trauma trying to come up, you know, and I'm not able to control them as well as I usually do. So then the altered state kind of starts to kick in. I don't know, maybe as a protective measure or something like that. Best way I can think of anyway. Gotcha. It's a hard way to live. It really is. I definitely lose track of days too, but I think that's more due to the fact that I don't get out and do anything. I'm just here, you know, because I don't really have much of a way to do. Yeah, I mean, extreme stress does it to me. It's like when I did the radio stuff at the end of the radio days, I was so stressed that I don't even remember a lot of it. I know that I went through different stuff, and Jolene remembers like all of it, of course, but I was definitely a different person during that period of time, to say the least. It was not pleasant for me at all. Live in the moment. Yeah, exactly. I wish I could do that. I do wish that I could do meditation. I do kind of, I guess you could say I do my own forms of it by sitting and listening to music, but you know, I mean, whatever it takes you to get to that kind of a frame of mind works. It doesn't, like, meditation isn't for everybody. Some people just can't do it. My mind is too scattered, I guess is the best way that I can put it. My mind, like, I jump from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing within my brain, and like within a 10-second period of time, I might have just thought about like 10 different things that I need to all have concentration and focus on, but I can't, you know what I mean? Going into that analysis paralysis thing that we were talking about earlier, you know? But that's how my mind works. Like, if I try to sit and meditate, it doesn't work, because I can't get my mind to shut down enough to be able to get into that alpha state. Or would that be, no, it's delta state basically is where the meditative state starts to take place. So my method of doing things is to do certain music. What does it for me is postmodern rock, where it's like, it's also called shoegaze because there's so many different like effects and stuff like that that are going on, that the guitarists are constantly looking at their shoes as they're messing with the pedals. That kind of music, it does take me into what would be like close to a meditative state, and I can do like a lot more stuff if I'm listening to that kind of music. Right, exactly. And whatever it takes to get you there is acceptable. Like, it's not just sitting there and zenning out or something like that. You know, it's whatever you need to do personally through all of the things that you've been through. You know what I mean? Whatever it takes for you to do it personally, I think is perfectly acceptable, and nobody should ever judge it, you know? Not everybody is capable of letting their mind shut up. I mean, especially people who have been through traumas, you know, it's very difficult to get your mind to shut up long enough for you to be able to have any concentration. And then you have people that have like OCD, you have people that have ADD, you have, you know, autism, all of the things. Like, I know, like for me, my form of autism, I think, and it's, I will say it's not diagnosed, right? When you're 50 years old at this point in time, there's no way that anybody's ever going to try to do the testing for me to say whether or not, yes, I am or not autistic. But I know, having an autistic son, I see what he does and what he's going through, and the different symptoms that he's had that have caused the diagnosis to happen. And I realize I do many of those too. You know what I mean? My form of it is that noise and the sensation of touch, I'm always very hyper aware of. And I think at least some of that is triggered by the abuse that I've gone through. But I think that there's also some chemistry that's there that's making it happen too. I hope that makes sense. Eyes open and glazed over, sort of. Jolene's another person that can't do meditation. If she tries, she falls asleep. Like she can't like stay awake into the meditative state well enough to actually get into a meditative state. But she's a professional napper. So, well, Seth's, my son Seth, his form of autism specifically is called childhood disintegrative disorder. What happens with him is, and I'm going to get a little controversial here, so pardon me, but his was caused by a vaccine. We have that was diagnosed by doctors. We did consider going through the lawsuit process with it, but then realized how much money it was going to cost us to go through the lawsuit process of it. And we decided that it's not a possibility for us to do. But his form of autism started when he was 2.5 years old. To that point in time, he was walking, he was talking, he was potty trained. He was way ahead of the curve. We got an MMR vaccine for him, and within 24 hours, we had to take him to the hospital because he started running a fever so high that he was seizing and all kind. I mean, it was horrible. And so the staff, to try to bring his fever down, were trying to give him Tylenol. And they were doing it with it was Motrin. They were trying, it was Tylenol, acetaminophen. They were giving it to him through the syringe, like putting it into his mouth and, shooting the syringe in and letting him swallow it down. He fought us really hard to get that Tylenol in. And, as he fought, he aspirated a lot of that Tylenol, choked and gagged and all kinds of stuff. We knew that he swallowed at least some of it, but we don't know how much he was able to actually get down. So once he recovered from that gag and stopped coughing and all that kind of stuff, which took a long time, they came in with another full dose of this Tylenol to try to bring his fever down again. And it was within just that very short 15-minute period of time, gave him this next high dose of acetaminophen. And he ended up swallowing all of that down, thankfully, I guess. But over the period of the next 2 months, he went from somebody who could walk, talk, potty train, all of the stuff, to losing everything. He lost everything. He lost his ability to be potty trained, could no longer speak, could not walk. He lost everything. Completely regressed into an infant state. So we had to raise him all over again. And that was a hard experience, guys, I'll tell you. That was a very rough thing, because when your child comes to you and you can see that they're falling apart, the thing that broke my heart, one of the last things that he was able to say to me before he lost his ability to speak was, "Daddy, I feel like my brain is on fire." That was rough to hear. So he did finally learn again everything. It took him a long time. Like, it wasn't until he was almost 5 years old before he could actually speak again. Before that, he would point and kind of grunt or just make like kind of guttural sounds that were akin to words, but not quite words. What ended up actually, Jolene is the first person that got him to talk again. And this was when she first started really coming into our lives. She was the first person that got him to be able to speak again. It's one of the reasons why I'm grateful for her, guys. I'll tell you. Cause she's not their bio mom, you know, for those not aware, Jolene is not their bio mom. She's a step, but I'll tell you, that woman loves them with the fierceness that a blood mother could never even match. I'm telling you, these kids are hers, 100%. So the problem that he's had his whole life, because he just turned 20 actually. Yeah, they're trying to change that around. He just turned 20 the past few weeks. And even today, one of the problems that he has is his brain works in such a way that when things aren't like reinforced or thought about, he will lose it. He just, it's completely gone, as if it never existed to him. I'll give you a perfect example. He would watch like a TV show. He'd watch every episode of it over and over and over again, right? Just like any kid would do. And then he would stop watching it. And like a few months later, his mom or I would mention something about the show. And he would look at us like a deer in the headlights. He had no knowledge of the show in any way, shape, or form. We could show him pictures of it. Hey, you used to love this show. You'd watch it all the time, so on and so forth, you know, and nothing. Not a single memory of it at all. And he would watch it again as if it was absolutely brand new, fall in love with it all over again, the whole kit and caboodle, like everything. He'd be all with it, right? And this happens with him time and time again. Books that he reads or things that we try to teach him with math or English and, you know, on and on and on. Like all of the things, if it's not like constantly thought about or constantly like put up in front of him in some kind of way so that he remembers it, like the memory gets triggered, it's gone. And one of the psychologists that works with him put it a pretty good way, and I really like the way that he put it because it makes a lot of sense to me. The way that his brain works is different than normal, because for somebody that's normal, quote unquote, if you look back on a memory, you're going to remember it from point A to point B as if it's a memory that's playing in your mind, and you can have a connection to it because the people, the places, the things, and all of that kind of stuff are familiar to you in one way or another. For him, the same kind of memory doesn't work that way. For him, it's like he's looking through a book full of pictures from like the family history or something, and he doesn't have any knowledge of the person that he's seeing there. So he might have like something filter back up again in his memory somewhere, and remember something, but he's got no connection to it. He doesn't know the people. He doesn't know the experience. So he doesn't know how he's supposed to react to it or anything along those lines. So he doesn't like remember it at all. You know, it's weird, but that's how his brain chemistry works. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on chat here a little bit. What's interesting, I guess, is that like I'm not like even though I know and we've got the proof that the damage that was done to him was done through the vaccines, I'm not necessarily anti-vaccine. We had to go through. Here's where something gets really difficult. Okay, this is like one of the difficult things that people have to deal with when it comes to this kind of stuff. Give me just a second. I need a drink here real quick. My daughter was not born until after Seth's autism kicked in and until we realized that it was the vaccine that caused the issue. And we had to go through the turmoil of deciding. We already dealt with one child literally being destroyed. Like the person that he is today is not the person who he was going to be originally, you know? So my other child, who was born after all of this occurred, we had the torment of trying to figure out, do we vaccinate them or not? Do we run the risk, because we've already seen this happen once, do we run the risk of having this again? Ultimately, we did decide to go ahead and do the vaccinations, right? But this is like, I see people like on the internet and all that kind of stuff really being like wicked evil towards people that are like speaking out against vaccinations, and both sides do have their points, right? But I know that they have benefit, but my issue is the fact that they are given so much at once. It's a lot for their little bodies to handle, and not every body can handle it. You know what I mean? So we did get the vaccinations, but we actually waited for a little while after the recommended age so that we could be sure, or surer anyway, that she would be able to handle it a little bit better. And she did, thankfully. But, you know, it's an untenable situation for a parent to really have to go through. It was very difficult for us to go through that decision process, knowing that one had already been damaged. Do we run the risk of this other, you know? And I think that when it comes down to like this argument of like vaccination or not, I think that the personal choice is the bigger outlier for it all, you know? But anyways, enough about that controversial topic. I guess it's a very depressing topic. It's a very hard one for me to talk about because I'll tell you, it was a real rough time for our family to have to go through. See, we know that our daughter does have at least some form of autism, but what we've wondered over the years, it's never been diagnosed because as she's gotten older, like at this point in time, she's too old for them to test is essentially what it comes down to. Like they still could do it, but like the insurance companies won't cover it because it's, not worthwhile to do. But what we've wondered is if the things that we see in her are actually autism, because we do see it in Seth, the same things, or if it's more a learned behavior because she was raised with somebody that's autistic and she's younger than he is. You see what I mean? So like some of the things may be like a learned kind of thing as opposed to, is this actually autism? But the way that we've basically worked things is as if she does, because even if she doesn't, she still does have these symptoms. You know what I mean? And regardless of whether she does or doesn't, the treatment plan for it would still be the same either way. Right, but like that took a bit of doing for Amanda to get diagnosed with it, right? Because we've gone through quite a bit of processes to see if Crystal can, but nobody will do it. Nobody will do it, and it's kind of annoying because we really would like to have it done. So, are you saying that with my story, the vaccines weren't the cause? Because the doctors have admitted that was the cause. Like I said, we have all of the paperwork that we could go to the vaccine board and sue for the damages that were done, but the expense of it is too much for us to do. It does happen. There have been literally billions of dollars paid out for families that have gone through damage from vaccines. It does happen. So, Dawn, do you need to take off? Well, have a great night. Thank you for being here. I really am grateful for you participating here. And thank you for being here with this moment in time. I hope that you have a very good night and that you stay safe. The reason why I was talking about the thing with Crystal there, Robin, is because she has a really extreme touch response too, and we think that that's part of the autism that she's got, is that she's very sound sensitive and very touch sensitive. I've never, like, we kind of joke around with her, and she makes jokes about it herself that, if somebody ever tried to like molest her or something like that, they wouldn't be able to do it because she would totally freak out on them and probably kill them, because she's so like hyper responsive to anybody that touches her. So yeah. Anyway, so again, like this whole thing with the vaccines and stuff goes to the topic at hand with the choice idea. Pushed hard for it. Yeah. I mean, we've pushed for it, but not super hard. Like, we've talked to 3 different psychiatrists and 3 different therapy kind of groups to try to see if we can do something with it. And all of them have refused to do it because the insurance companies won't cover it. But we're thinking that after she turns 18, we might be able to push a little bit in different directions, because then it'd be like a different set of circumstances that are there for it. But anyways, so like that choice thing with the vaccinations is, again, part of like the hard choices that people have to make through the events that they've been through. And some people, like, the choices become almost untenable. You can't, how do you make the choice? It's like you try to talk to somebody about it, or try to get help by talking to somebody about it, and you can't really get a solid answer. The choice is still on you, and that's really difficult. Polly, hey, welcome. I'm glad that you have come back to us. I hope that you're having a really good day. We're having to talk about choices and autism and all kinds of different topics. We've been talking about like what's reality, what's death. I mean, all kinds. You're coming into a weird night here, I'll tell you. But regardless, we're having a good time with it. So. Gotcha, Robin. So yeah, so it was the fact that all three of the boys had been diagnosed previous to that then that pushed it. That's interesting. We have tried to do the reminding the doctors that Seth, her brother, has autism too, but they still won't go with it. Like I said though, like once she turns 18, I think we'll have a little bit more options available to us to work with. Just as it stands right now, being on Medicaid and stuff, it's a little more difficult to deal with them, you know, when it's the juvenile Medicaid stuff. It can be a real pain in the butt to get something done. It's like they told us that that I needed to have a sleep study done because my sleep is messed up, like super messed up. I'm lucky if I get 5 hours of sleep a day, usually 4, a lot of times 3. And it's because of what my ex Jenny put me through. She would let me go to sleep and wake me up 3 hours later so that I could take care of the kids. And I'm the kind of person that once I wake up, I'm awake. I mean, I'm not going to go back to sleep again for hours. Yes, I did. And I checked it after I got off the show and it all came through just great. And oh my God, thank you so much. Oh my God. You don't know what a blessing you are. Thank you. Seriously. It's going to go directly to feed my kids. I'm telling you, thank you. They wanted me to get a sleep study done so that I could try to get my sleep back together again. And this is the screwed up thing about insurance companies, right? They told me that I cannot get a sleep study done because I haven't had a sleep study done. So they're not going to pay for a sleep study to be done because I haven't had a sleep study done before. Do you guys see the logic with this at all? Like in any kind of way, shape, or form, do you guys see any kind of logic with that statement? That you can't get a sleep study done because you've never had a sleep study done, so we're not going to pay to have a sleep study done. This is literally what we're told. I don't understand. Yeah. When you get that kind of a diagnosis at the older years, you can kind of look back on your life and think, oh my God, okay, that answers so many things that now I know. Cause it's like, I'm a big proponent of trying to figure out why we tweak the way that we do, you know, what makes you tick, what makes you function, what makes you make the decisions that you make from day to day, and so on and so forth. And it's fascinating to me to look back on my life and try to figure out, okay, yeah, right there is why I'm doing the thing that I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? Well, you know what? Jolene was, my wife, Jolene, was a pharmacy tech for over a year. And she had a hard time at that job. So, okay. Open book again, right? And I'm not going to bash the company necessarily, right? But she worked for Kroger, the Kroger pharmacy. So Kroger's, for those not aware, Kroger's kind of a regional grocery chain that is actually really closely headquartered near where we're at here. So it's big here. So she worked at this Kroger pharmacy, and the pharmacist, when she started working there and she's trying to like figure out how to do everything, you know, she's going through the training. The pharmacist, when she asked, okay, this isn't going something, you know, she was trying to put somebody's medications in the file so that it could be filed with the insurance and get approval. Okay. it wasn't going through correctly. So Jolene asked, okay, what do I need to do to make this work? You know, and he said, literally, just keep hitting buttons and eventually it's going to work. What? What? Okay. If you don't see an issue with that, then you don't know insurance industry, right? Like in any way, shape, or form. Like that is not good to just tell the pharmacy tech, just keep hitting buttons until something happens and eventually it's going to go through. You know, for Jolene especially, like she's one that has to like know why things are done the way that they're done, you know, like, and she has to like be like shown, you know, there's like 4 different types of learners, right? And one of them is that you have to be shown how things work. And that's how she is. She's somebody that has to be shown how things work. So the idea of just hit buttons until it goes through is not at all on Jolene's bailiwick, right? So that was upsetting. And then there were other times where like people would come in to get like their insulin. And so like she talks about one guy that would come in all the time. He would get his insulin every month and the insurance company paid for it. And then one month he came in to get his insulin and for whatever reason, the insurance company denied it. And so she had to tell him, I cannot give you your insulin. You're going to have to pay for this out of your pocket because your insurance company is no longer covering it. So please, you know, pay $1,300 so that you can get your medication that's going to have, you know, save your life. That kind of thing happened over and over. She finally got to the point where she said, I can't do this anymore. I can't face this kind of a thing anymore. So she quit. She asked, you know, if I thought that it'd be okay. And I'm like, I mean, it's your life. Do what you want to do with it. I don't own you, but yeah, I would recommend not being there because I know how much it's stressing you out. I mean, it really stressed her out hard to think that she had to deal with these insurance companies that were doing this kind of a thing to the customers that were coming through and expecting her to be the one to tell them your insurance company is no longer covering you. You know, that's hard. That's hard on a person who's like her, who's really deeply caring about people, you know. To force her to do that kind of a thing is a really, I mean, it'll put her into a dark place, you know? So yeah, she had to walk away from that one. And then it wasn't long after that before she ended up being disabled herself. And we had to start really going through the process of going through the surgery for her to try to get through it. She started having really bad, and we do think like some of the reason why her health deteriorated so much was because of the stress that she was going through at that job. She went from being reasonable. She'd have to be on her oxygen all the time. You know, she's on 2 liters oxygen. She'd have to be on it all the time. But there were days where she could go through without having to have it, right? Well, after she left that job, she had to be on it all the time. And she was going through so much stress that her heart went into arrhythmias in a bad way. She started throwing PVCs in a bad way and just really started rolling downhill hard. So it was not long after that we got the news that she needed to have this surgery or we'd be looking at having to have a transplant. That option is still on the table, unfortunately, but she's, I think at this stage, gotten recovered enough from the surgeries that she went through that maybe we can avoid that for another decade, and that'd be good. Maybe another 2 decades if we're lucky. That would be really good, because I know that's like the last thing that she wants to do is to go through something like that. This is really hard to talk about, guys. I'm sorry if I'm being really depressing and stuff like that. I don't want to like send you guys into bad moods or upset moods, so please pardon me. But We can change the topics if you guys desire. I mean, great. It's not hard on me to talk about it. It's stuff that it's hard to talk about, I guess, is what it comes down to. Because I care about her, you know, in ways that I never expected. I never expected to fall in love with her the way that I did and as much as I did, because I've never felt this kind of thing in my life before. I've always said that I've loved people, you know, but I didn't truly know what love was until she came along, you know. I had an idea of what it could be, but it doesn't match what's there now, you know. So seeing her go through everything that she was going through, it hurt my heart in a bad way. You know, it was really, really difficult. And so I just finally told her, look, you've got to quit this job because you're not this person. You know, this is not you to have to go to these people and tell them, you know, I'm sorry, but you got to pay me $1,300 or you're going to die. You know, that's not her. So, so I'm glad that she left, but it wasn't long after that before she ended up having to have the surgery. And I'm glad that she had the surgery. It's been a rough few months though, guys. I'll tell you, it really has been. When the doctor came in and talked to me about like that we might lose her, the hardest part of that whole thing, not just the fact that the thought was going through my mind of, oh my God, what am I going to do without her? What was really hard. Sorry, I'm looking for my tea here. What was really hard was the fact that I was there alone. This was back in December, and the whole COVID stuff was still going on with the hospitals in a very untenable kind of a way. I was allowed to be there with her for her surgery, but I had to be in a very small enclosed waiting room, and I couldn't have anybody else there with me. It was just me. And after the surgery, I was allowed to see her for an hour before I would have to leave and not be able to see her again in person until she was released. Whatever case might be, that was the situation. So when the doctor came in to talk to me and laid on me all of the really horrific things that he did, I was there alone, having to deal with this alone as a blind guy sitting in this waiting room, nobody else around. The phone didn't work in the hospital, you know, in the waiting room, the phone didn't work, and my cell phone couldn't get a signal. And yet I had to sit there waiting for the nurses to come in and give me the information about what was going on. So I couldn't even leave the waiting room. I didn't eat the whole day. One of the nurses who was there in the waiting room, like doing the observations there in the waiting room, noticed that I hadn't eaten anything. And she finally came up to me and she said, I see that you haven't had anything to eat today. Do you want something to eat? And I'm like, I'm so upset. You know what I mean? There's just no way I felt like I could eat anything. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm just going to be right here. And about an hour and a half later, she came back in again, and she was carrying a little package that had a sandwich and some crackers and a can of pop in it. She's like, okay, I know you're upset. I know there are things that are going on, but can you, I bought this with my own money. Can you please at least eat a little bit of it? Because I don't want to see you sitting here starving. You can't do all this on an empty stomach. That woman was such a blessing, I'm telling you. I've never seen a kinder heart. I really haven't. As her reaching out to me and telling me, look, I know you're going through stuff, but you got to eat something. And she went out and bought it herself, you know, and that's what made me eat it, was knowing that she spent her money on me trying to get me to eat a bite, you know? So I ate as much of it as I could. Honestly, I didn't eat a whole lot of it. I probably ate about half the sandwich, and I ate some of the crackers, and I drank a little bit of the pop, but it wasn't long after that before the doctor came in and talked to me again. So, it's like those moments of kindness can really make such a big difference in somebody's life. It really can. Like, I'm a big advocate of, like, if you go to the gas station, and you see somebody standing in line there, you know, give them a smile, you know, don't be creepy about it. Right. But just give them a smile, you know, and, you don't know what kind of a difference that little moment is going to make in somebody's life. They could be thinking really dark thoughts. They might be thinking to themselves, nobody in this world gives a shit about me, you know? And, that little smile that you give them can make it so that they walk away and they don't end up killing themselves that day or something. You know what I mean? You never know. You never know what kind of a moment you give to somebody in that little bit of kindness that you do. I don't even know if that nurse is even going to ever remember that she did that kind thing for me in that moment in time, but I remember it. So, sorry if I'm crying here, but I try really hard not to cry, not because I'm not in touch with my emotions or something like that. I don't mind crying itself, but I have so much scarring on my corneas that if I do cry, the salt from my tears literally causes me agony. So right now my eyes are burning really hard from doing that little bit of tearing up. So I might start doing a little bit of, like, you know, excessive things here, because it's hurting hard, and it's like you know, that level 1 to 10 scale of hurting kind of a thing. It's like probably a good 4 right now for me in my eyeball. So let me catch up on chat here just a little bit. Sorry, give me a moment and I'll try to catch up here. Robin, I saw that you were talking a couple of days ago about what was going on with your dog, and I didn't see that they've gotten better. Oh my God, that is really good news. That is awesome. Sorry, give me a moment. If you guys don't mind, I'm gonna go ahead and just take a break here real quick. I'm just gonna step away for a moment. I'm gonna wash my eyes out with some water so I can get this salt out of my eyes. Okay, just give me just a brief moment here. Sorry. Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. I know that you told me that he had the aneurysm going on, Robin, and that he was going to have the surgery, but I haven't seen anything from you about that ever since. What's going on with that? Jolene and I have been definitely sending a lot of prayers your way to help him get through it. Oh, but I have to. It's my thing. I apologize for everything. Needs 4 surgeries. Oh my God. Okay. I think if I remember right, you had told me about 2 of them, or I had seen about 2 of them. None scheduled yet. Okay. Is he being his Bill self and still trying to do everything on top of it all, or is he actually like chilling out and relaxing to get through it? Just making sure, because I know him. Hey, William, welcome to the show. I hope that you're having a really good night. We're having kind of a generalized conversation, whatever comes to people's minds. But the topic of the day has been choices, and the different choices that we make in our lives that might have weird effects or reasons why we make the choices that we do. All kinds of just randomness. You guys you miss me just like crying my poor little eyes out here. Yeah, of course he's being his Phil self. I expected nothing less. He is nothing else if not a man of very stubborn means, to say the least. So, oh, okay, you just switched accounts. Gotcha. Okay, just making sure. See, I knew that I recognized the name, but I was like, I'm still recovering. Okay. The crazy things my brain puts me through, I tell you. I still don't think I completely washed my eyes out enough. But see, that's like, I'll tell you, like, I never expected that I would end up finding somebody like Jolene. And I know, Robin, that is how you feel about Bill too. And you've always felt that way about Bill. You are so lucky that you found him so early, like, I'm always amazed at like the stuff that the two of you have been through, and you're still together, like, you're a testament to what love really can be and can do. I just love you guys so much. I really do. Your whole fam-damly. Does that include me? Because I am your fam-damly. But anyways, it's like, why, for those of you guys not aware, Robin is my IRL sister. And we have like a weird story to us. Like, neither of us knew that we were brother and sister until one day when we were like, oh yeah, okay, so that's what it is now. Okay, well, hey, we both like, I knew my dad was a hoe, and so I wouldn't be surprised if there was another 10 of them running around somewhere, and we just never have had a chance to meet. But Robin is the only person other than my mom who I have anything to do with in any of my blood family. They've all otherwise been completely useless to me, like drunkards and thieves, and I didn't want to have anything to do with that with my kids, so 32nd anniversary. Yeah, it's crazy. You old hag. So it's like basically like to paraphrase, like we got to know each other. I moved into a place that was like, what, 2 houses away from where you were living, got to know each other a little bit. And then finally you were like, is this your dad? And I'm like, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm your sister. Okay, great. Hi, nice to meet you. You know, I mean, it was kind of weird, you know, it's like just one of them weird things. But it's funny because like with Robin and I, we're kind of like a really interesting story in like nature versus nurture. Cause like both of us smoked and, like I noticed really quickly that the mannerism in which I smoked is the same as which she smoked. And that's the same as which dad smoked. Like it was all exactly the same, like some of the same mannerisms that we have and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's like so much of it is exactly like how dad would always do things. And it's trippy because she wasn't raised with us, you know? So it's like, it kind of really falls into place with that whole nature versus nurture sort of a thing, you know, like it's cool, but at the same time, you know, it has that choice factor with it, you know, how much of what we do actually is through our own choice, or is it through like that nature thing, that genetic thing, you know? So, yeah, exactly. This mutual cousin from her husband, realized what the story was and told her about it basically. So, it's just the weird things, you know, the weirdnesses that life can bring. Never expected I'd have another sister, but it didn't, you know, like I'm one of 13, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff going around out there. I've got like, you know, 30, no, more than that. I've probably got about 50 nieces and nephews at this point in time. And a bunch of like great nieces, great nephews, cousins. Oh my God. We had to, there's a place in our town's area, called the Coliseum. And there was one time that a reunion took place and like they had to rent out an entire expo hall for the family reunion. It was like where our family is just, oh my God. It was massive. It was just, there's so many, like I could not go anywhere throughout town without running across somebody that I know is a family member. It's just, it's insane. The family is just so freaking huge. Yeah, like Robin was saying, like her mom never told her who her real dad was, and she didn't find out until way later, you know, what the situation was. So it's one of them bizarre stories, you know, one of them bizarre, hey, when it happens, you know, it happens, right? So but I'm very glad. I'll tell you, like, I am so grateful for Robin being in my life because like she has been a big influencer in my life and like my attitudes and the different changes and choices that I've made in my own life, like for the better. And I'm very grateful that she has been there. Yeah, speaking of the Dark Family Secrets, that was my show last night. You missed that one. We had a big Dark Family Secret there. You were the Dark Family Secret, my dear. The biggest secret of them all. The daughter no one knew about. Tune in next time on True TV. But all of that is the spice of life, right, my friends? All of that is the spice of life. That's what keeps things going. That's what keeps things interesting. And that's why I like to be here with you guys, because there's so many different things that I've never expected in my life to encounter without being on the air, you know, and like allowing this exploration of self-discovery to take place, not only for myself, but for others as well, you know? And, yeah, we kind of were there a lot for each other, really. You know, we both went through some really bad stuff and kind of that power of familial love and being like the only ones of the family that we could hold on to, you know. Got us through a lot. So you are a dark secret. Yep. So that's an interesting one there, Polly. That's a very interesting one. So I wouldn't be surprised if I have more kiddos out there than I'm aware of, because I was a big whore. I can admit it. I was a big whore. So it wouldn't surprise me if there are others that are out there. And if you're one of my kids, well, hello. Come on over and I'd like to talk to you and meet you. But, so how did he find out about the fact that he has this daughter that he didn't know about? I'm just curious about it. That kind of thing definitely happens a lot. It's kind of one disadvantage of being a male, you know. You're my kid. That'd be an interesting one. You're a little older than I am, so I'd like to know how that one came about. Huh, so that's interesting. So she knew before he knew then? These are those kind of twisted family dramas that are very interesting, right? These It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if like someday my mom, like I find out my mom had another kid. Like I know that she had a couple of husbands before she got together with what she told me was her first husband. We talked about that on the Dark Secrets last night. You know, she never told me about these other men that she had been married to. I've actually just only recently found out about a couple of them. So, you know, it's kind of, my chat room just messed up. Sorry. I'm going to put some text into the chat room just to make sure that my chat text goes normal here. Give me just a moment. Let's see. I think this one will do it. Nope. That one did not do it. That one? There we go. That one will do it. Okay. Sorry. Okay. I had to catch up on the other direction. I've only got one monitor. Like if you guys are curious about things, I've got like one monitor. You guys can see the side of it right here. So I've got this one monitor. And I know a lot of streamers, they have like a second monitor, like over to the side where they have the chat room and stuff. That doesn't work out very well for me. I have a whole different kind of a setup here that I use. In fact, if you guys are curious about it, I can kind of show it to you here. Give me one moment. I know a couple of people were asking me about it the other day and I can't remember who it was. So if you're one of them, well, you'll get to see here in a moment. Let's see. Yeah, this one would work, I guess. There you go. Now you can see it. So, I'm much closer than what I am in that picture right there. Right. But, you guys can kind of see that this is the mic arm that I've got. My mixer is right here. And then, my keyboard and my monitor are right here. And so between it all, like I'm way scooted up into the desk while I'm just sitting here doing the streaming and stuff. But, you guys can see kind of like a little bit of what I endure and have to go through here. I like my little setup though. It's not too bad, but I've got to have my monitor on a big arm and I've got to I've got it like as close to me as I can get it without dumping it over into my lap, basically. I wish I could get it a little bit closer. I'm trying to get like a different monitor arm that has grommets that I can just install down into the desk itself. But as it stands, I've basically got it on an end table that I've got sitting on top of my desk, and I've got it attached to that. So yeah, it's 32 inches if I remember right. I think this is the 32-inch one, and it's still not big enough. Like I could use a bigger one, but I don't know where I would put it, honestly. But once I get like close enough, it's a little bit better. The way that my eyes work, I know this sounds a little strange, but the more three-dimensional things are, the worse it is for me. So if things have a depth to them, I lose track of it easier, and the superimpositions happen more prevalently. And also, the more lights there are, the worse it gets. Because, okay, imagine this. If you were to take a light and like have it in front of you, imagine that light has multiple silhouettes of itself surrounding it and coming off of it like in starburst pattern sort of things, while at the same time having like a weird dual circle underneath it that then like washes over towards the wayside of your vision and so on and so forth. That's kind of like what every single pinpoint of light does to my eyes. So the light that I have over here is doing that, but then it's reflecting off of all four of the knobs of my monitor. So each of those are causing that same kind of a thing. My phone itself is causing that kind of a thing. And then the reflection off of my microphone arm is doing that. The reflection off of this is doing that. The reflection off of this is doing that. The reflection I can see in my glasses on the monitor is doing that. You know, the mouse itself is doing that. So it's like all of these things combined together, overlapping each other over and over. And by the time everything's said and done, I lose track of everything because there's nothing. Top it all off with the fact that every time my heart beats, the whole world pulses with it. You know, so everything's moving in and out and in and out and in and out with every beat of my heart. It gets a little hard. You know what I mean? It gets a little twisted. I'm going to see if I can find something here, because this would be really, really good for you guys maybe to understand. I type things by memory here, so... let's see. Yeah, okay, this one's not too bad. You guys can get a pretty decent like viewpoint. So the thing I'm going to show you, this is like somebody, like an artist's rendition of what like the Keratoconus kind of a look can do. That is the wrong picture. Why is that not showing the right one? Give me a moment, sorry. Weird, it's not showing the right one. I don't know why. I don't understand computers. I kid. That is odd. I don't know why it's showing up, but okay. Anyways, the point is, I don't know, maybe if you guys saw it a little bit when I had it on the other image there, but it's like you throw like everything on top of each other, and it gets really difficult to deal with. But what happens is, if I'm using a monitor and I can get myself within just a couple of inches of it, the fact that everything is flat actually works a little bit in my favor, and I can see it a little bit clearer if I squint. And the harder I squint, the more like acuity of vision I get. But it's still not what you guys would have or something like that. I hope that makes sense. In some ways it's similar to a kaleidoscope. I'm more liken it to like, if you were to have like a wax museum with all the wax figures and everything in it, and it had been through a fire and everything kind of like melts together so that everything gets superimposed over each other and kind of becomes meshed together. It's more along those lines, I think. Your torn retina put a lot of fear into me, Robin. Because that can be a familiar thing, you know, like that kind of thing can run in families. And when you told me about that, just like 5 months ago, I started having a weird issue with my eyes where I would see like a white ball almost of light run from like the top of my vision across the side of my vision and down, and would happen regardless of whether my eyes were open or shut. It would happen like just in a flash. It'd be really quick, but it would happen repeatedly, and it happened for like 5 or 6 days in a row. And finally I was like, okay, I gotta call somebody, because my sister had the torn retina, and I need to make sure my retina ain't torn or some kind of funky thing ain't going on in there. Because I didn't know maybe if it was something with like a new effect of my corneal problem or something happening, or if it may have been something like with what you had going on. So I went, and I'll tell you, every time I have to go to an eye doctor, it is like going to the Inquisition and being put onto the torture table, because my eyes are so screwed up, so bad. Anytime something touches my eyes, it is the worst experience that I have ever gone through. And sometimes I'll go through, like I'll wake up in the morning, or I'll be asleep and wake up in my sleep to having what's called a high drop. And that's where, because my corneas are so thin and I have so much scarring, sometimes fluid from the inside of my eye will start to seep out of the cornea, and it will cause a blister to happen. And it feels exactly like you get a stone in your eye and you can't get it out, and it lasts for hours and hours and hours. It is just, oh God, so painful. And so every time that I have to go to the eye doctor to get any kind of exams done, I always end up having one of those invariably afterwards, because there's so much trauma that's being done that like it just kicks it right in for me. So I went, and they did the exam and everything, and they said, no, everything looks okay on the retina itself, but you know, your corneas are really messed up. Right? Yeah, I know my corneas are messed up. That's why I'm blind, dude. Right. See, I knew that, but again, like, that wasn't going through my mind. All I knew was I was seeing this weird ball of light, and I knew that that could be a symptom of something like, you know, retinal degeneration and that kind of stuff going on. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get checked out. And I told him, you know, my sister had a torn retina, you know, I'm a little paranoid about it here, you know, a little bit terrified of it here. Can you take a look and see? And I mean, of course nothing was there, but thankfully I'm glad, because that's the last thing I need to deal with is something like that too. But, I know you still to this day have a lot of really bad effects from it, right? Like, there's not much else that they can do for it, right? I'm just trying to make sure, because I know you said that they had done a couple of things to it, but this is really weird music. What the hell is this music going on? I'm sorry, I don't know what this is. It's like I've got like a random recording kind of a thing going on, and it's, I don't know, the weirdest things to play during this kind of a conversation. So I see we have a couple of other visitors with us. Welcome, come on in. You don't have to lurk. If you want to talk, go ahead and talk. We're open to anything and everything, and there is absolutely no judgment in this space. But I am Ira. This is Blind Dad Does. Right now, Blind Dad is doing a little bit of conversing. Sometimes I play games. Sometimes I'm here just talking. Sometimes I'm doing what I do best, which is being the strangest person that I've ever met. Yeah, tonight we're talking about choice. We're talking about change. We're talking about all kinds of things. Whatever ends up coming to people's minds, it's always an open topic here. And my life is an open book, so you guys are welcome to talk about or ask anything that you wish. So it is similar in some kind of ways to that, Robin. Yeah. Like I was talking about with the pinpoints of light thing, the hard thing for that about that with me is that it's like if you were to take a look around you right now and take notice of everything that is creating a little bit of light, whether that's like each letter of text on the monitor, or like something that's reflecting off the surface of your desk, the candle, whatever is throwing off any kind of light or that's emitting any kind of light in any kind of way. Each one of those becomes like this big weird halo effect for me that then I have to try to compensate for. And what really sucks too is that every time I blink, the whole structure of my eye reforms. So like the major problem with keratoconus is that it's a thinning of the corneas. And so the thinner your corneas are, it means that you don't have structure for your eyeballs to hold together in the shape that they're supposed to. So it's like for people that don't have it, your eye might be like more akin to like a hard-boiled egg, like the way that a hard-boiled egg feels. Whereas my cornea is more akin to like silly putty that's a little bit warm. It's a lot more malleable and easy to like squish and manipulate and all that kind of stuff. So every time that I blink, the structure of my eye crushes down and then bounces back up again. And so it takes that moment in time when the blink happens and the eye reopens for my brain to compensate for that rapid motion change, if that makes sense. It's really hard to describe, and I'm sorry if I'm not doing a very good job of it, but that's what it comes down to. Okay, so they did the laser surgery, right? Okay, see, I knew about the laser surgery, but I thought they had done something after that too. Maybe it was just me thinking that you were talking about the metal bands part of it. The one surgery that I had hoped for myself was something called cross-linking, which is basically where they take a ring. They open up your cornea, they insert a ring on the inside of your cornea that then like goes into your iris and becomes like a part of your eye, and it becomes the structure that your cornea wraps around. And that does help for some people. But when I went to the specialist, who is the go-to guy, Dr. Price in Indianapolis, he is the go-to guy for keratoconus, to see if I would qualify for it. We found out that my corneas are too thin, and they wouldn't survive that kind of a surgery. So the only thing that's left for me at this point in time is to have corneal transplants done. The problem with that is that if I was to get the corneal transplant done, so this is the way that he put it to me, okay? If I was to get the corneal transplant done, I would have about a 10% improvement in vision. But I would also then have to have cataract surgery done every year. I would have to have steroids constantly, and I would also have to take anti-rejection drugs. I would also run the risk of going completely black blind, or if I touched my eye in the wrong way, the transplant would fail and I would lose the use of the eye. Okay. So my vision is 20/30/600 in my good eye. My bad eye is even worse, but that's in my good eye. And that means that like the E that you would see on the wall would have to be 20 feet tall in order for me to discern that it's actually an E. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to tell that it's an E. It's pretty pitiful, right? But 10% improvement of that is essentially useless. Like really, when it comes down to it, with as bad as my vision is, 10% improvement over what I currently have is going to be negligible at best. Negligible enough for me to decide that trying to go through all the other stuff that would then come with having to have that transplant done, it's like the risk versus reward is not worthwhile enough for me to do it. And so I figure I'll stick with the devil that I know, because I can at least get myself to the position where I can function somewhat. If I'm here in my house, I have enough muscle memory of where things are that I'm not going to face plant into the wall or murder myself as I'm trying to walk around the house. Unless someone in the house gets vengeful and moves stuff around, which happens, by the way. I have to deal with that with my mother with dementia. She can be a real handful, to say the least. Whole different subject. Anyways, so I can function around home and get by, right? I can sit here at my desk, I can talk to you guys, and as long as I'm not doing anything like real super elaborate, I can at least kind of sit back a little bit, relax into it. I can squint my eyes when I notice that the movement on my phone has happened, and so therefore text has come in. So I'm aware that like you guys have said something, so I need to squint and pay attention to it, you know, because movement is no problem for me. I can discern movement like you wouldn't believe, because so much information is coming in that any little trickle of movement, boom, I am super aware of. Like instantly I can see that just happened, right? I couldn't tell you what it was. I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about what it was, but I could see something moved. I can also, it's weird, but because my eyes are so protruding, like they really are. Like, let me see if you guys can see a little bit of it. Just give me a second here. Bear with me here for a second, because I'm going to try to see, right? I don't know if the camera was good enough to pick it up there or not, but like my eyes protrude. Like if this was the eyeball, the cornea is like protruding like this. It's like a big pyramid shape that's coming off the eyeball, right? So because of it, my peripheral vision is extreme. Like I'm almost like a goat, being able to almost see behind myself in a lot of ways. It's crazy. My kids have never been able to get away with anything with me because I can always tell when they're right behind me doing stuff. Anything in front of me is lost, right? But if it's to the sides, I can pick up on it at a pretty decent pace. Anyways, favorite pizza topping. Okay, so I have a lot, and I've worked at a lot of different pizza joints, and I've discovered, I think, the perfect combination of pizza. You guys want to hear my perfect combination of pizza? It works really well. It's very tasty. Right, a bullet bra. Exactly. That's a great way to put it. Yes. It's very reminiscent of one of those. I love that. I'm going to use that from now on. So my favorite combination of pizza toppings. Extra sauce. You got to have extra sauce. Always extra sauce. Don't ever ask for no extra sauce, man. Because, oh my God. What's the matter with you? The sauce is the best part of the pizza. Okay. Extra sauce. Cheese, just a regular amount of cheese, right? Extra pepperoni, green olives, banana peppers, and bacon. That combo is hard to beat. Like, it is really, really tasty doing it that way. Because the green olives offset the meatiness, right? With enough of like an acidic kind of a taste that it like kind of perks your tongue up a little bit. Then the bite of banana pepper that you get has like that extra acid hit that really like enhances the flavor of the bacon and the pepperoni that's there. So to me, that's the perfect combination of pizza toppings. Now, my wife disagrees, by the way, but that to me is the perfect combination. And I did a lot of experimentation on different pizza toppings, by the way, because I got a lot of free pizzas. For me, that's the best combo. What would you guys consider your ultimate combo of pizzas? I'm curious. Ew, olives. No, olives are amazing. Olives are amazing. They are wondrous creations. Don't you poo-poo on olives. You're no longer in my family. Get out of my house. By the way, Seth agrees with you. He doesn't like olives either. You forget those exist. I'm not into black olives. Like black olives, I don't really care for, but green olives, oh God, I love green olives. I'll just sit and eat a big jar of green olives with no problem whatsoever. Love them things. And it saddens me because a lot of pizza places have actually gotten rid of them over the years. Like they don't really have them much anymore on a lot of places. They've just gotten rid of them. I'm like, no, just cheese. No, you can't have just cheese. Oh man, you cheese eater. All right. No judgment here. My kiddo likes just straight up cheese pizza too. Like they don't get along with anything else really. Once in a while they'll throw some onions on it too, but so what about you, Robin? What's your ultimate pizza combo? For Jolene, it's pepperoni, bacon, banana peppers, and pineapple. She's one of those weird pineapple on pizza eaters. I don't know how we're married. I really don't. I don't know how we're married. If we get pizza, we usually let her get her own and I get my own. Nobody else likes what I like. I feel so left out. I don't want to be out of this crowd. Pepperoni, sausage, tomatoes, onions, and green peppers. That'd be a pretty good combo. I can see that. That's kind of like a pretty lasagna combo. Like really straight up standard lasagna, throw some crust underneath it, and there you go. You've got your perfect pizza then, right? It's not a bad combo. Not a bad one at all. That's pretty good. I do like green peppers on pizzas, but My favorite like way of green peppers is to have them like cooked down a little bit further than what they usually get on a pizza. I don't like them as much when they're really crunchy. I like them when they're nice and soft. But I'll eat it, you know, if it's there in front of me, I'll eat it. No problem. But yeah, I prefer them when they've been stewed a little bit more, I guess you could say. I just did a Korean barbecue yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. That turned out really good, but I threw red peppers and green peppers into it with some like really thin slices of steak and onions and rice. I don't cook very often anymore. They won't let me do it very much, but like I try to do what I can with it still. Thankfully, Seth's been picking up on it a little bit. He really enjoys cooking a lot, and I'm trying to let my control freak nature go and let him do it. And then Jolene's been feeling like better enough that she can cook a little bit more frequently now too. So have to have a really thick crust. I don't really like thick crusts on pizzas. But I'll eat it if it's there, you know, like, Pizza Hut does the pan pizzas and that kind of thing. And like when I worked there, I never got them. I always got like the thin pizzas, but, if we go to like the pizza buffet or something like that, they always do the pan pizzas there, and I'll eat it, you know, but, I'm not as into really thick pizza crusts. What's your opinion about Oli's there, Robin? I was talking about Oli's and how they have like the 5-inch thick pizza there. What's your opinion about them? That's a controversial topic within families. Do you like Oli's or not? Do you like the big thick pizza? They're good though. I like them. Like they do them well, but I do think pizzas are the ultimate solution to everything in the universe. I think human beings were created just for the sole purpose of making pizza. I really do. It's the only good humans have done. Oh, that sounds really, really good. That sounds really, really good, Robin. I would totally eat on that. All from your garden. Gonna make Jolene jealous. I never had their sausage rolls, actually. I'll have to try them there from there at some point in time. I do like sausage rolls here and there, but a lot of times they upset my stomach a little bit too much, so I don't do them very frequently. But anyways, well, listen, guys, I am getting a bit tired and I'm getting a bit hungry. We're talking about pizza now, and I'm getting a little bit hungry, so I do think I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here. However, that being said, I will be back online again tomorrow. If you guys would like to make your appearance, I would definitely appreciate it. I love you guys being here. I love all of you guys absolutely 100%, and I hope that you've had a really good time tonight. I know I have. I always really enjoy the moments that I get to spend with you guys, and I hope that you do too. So you miss ordering in. If you guys are over on Twitch, make sure you guys hit that follow button. It's really helpful to me. I would deeply appreciate it. I'm trying to get affiliate status over there, and I'm not too far away from it at this point in time. So if you guys would be willing to throw me a follow, I would deeply appreciate it. And if you're over there on YouTube, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so that you can get informed of when I do come out with something new. I come out with something new every day, and I would love for you guys to, well, become a part of my little family here, because I really do think of you guys as family, and you especially, Robin, because you are legit family. But I do think of all of you guys as family. So thank you for blessing me with your presence with me tonight, and I hope that everything in your life is going great. Let me give you my little bit of a dad moment here before we leave. Always remember that if you are not the lead dog, you're always your scenery never changes. You're always staring at somebody's asshole. So, just bear that in mind as you go through life and the choices that you make, right? So, keep safe out there, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have fun. And I'll talk to you again later.
Incoming customer detected.
Keep your eyes open, boys.
We need to have a serious talk.